Sports.
In just 2 weeks, the importance of this series between your Rangers and the Houston Astros has been turned upside down. The Astros are now chasing the Rangers. Coming off a sweep over the A's in Oakland, the Rangers come into Houston hot and loose, looking to extend their lead rather than simply hold on to it. Giovanni Gallardo gets the start in this crucial opening game, and with a large Ranger presence expected here, the hope is to turn Minute Maid Park into Globe Life South. The final installment of the Lone Star Series begins next on Fox Sports Southwest. Texas Rangers baseball is presented by AT&T UVerse TV. Now, welcome to the great indoors of South Texas. It's Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas. And tonight, your Rangers take on the Houston Astros, another huge matchup between the two division rivals. And welcome in, everyone, along with Tom Greaves, Steve Busby. Delighted you get to join us on this Friday night of Ranger baseball. A huge weekend getting set to get underway here down in Houston. And Tom, the Rangers have a lot going for them, the way they played in Oakland, the way they played the last couple of weeks. Adrian Beltre, you would expect this time of year is rising to the top.
He really is, Buzz, and the rest of the guys are just kind of jumping on his back, and off they go. He's been hot for quite a while, but recently, over the last couple of weeks, he's really been hot. In the month of September, he's driven in 25 runs. That's the most in the American League. In his last 13 games, he's hitting .450, and he's knocked in 20 runs in those 13 games. A lot of multi-hit games. He's also walking a lot, which I guess you should understand, because as hot as he is, why would they want to pitch to him in the first place? And he's not an easy guy to walk as well. So he's hot. The Rangers are playing great baseball, and it's fun to watch Adrian play.
Looking to keep it going down here in Minute Maid Park in Houston. Rangers and the Astros, arguably the biggest set of games in this rivalry between the two in-state rivals. Rangers and Astros coming up from Minute Maid Park. We're back with more right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Now, a nice crowd filing in to Minute Maid Park for what should be a great weekend of baseball between the Rangers and the Astros. Before we get things underway, let's sit down and check in with Emily Jones.
Well, Buzz, Giovanni Gallardo back on the hill for the Rangers this evening. And the one thing he's wanted to do better over the last few months is to go deeper into ball games. His battery mate tonight tells me how he can accomplish that.
I think really we should try to get as many early outs as we can, quick outs. This is a very free-swinging team, so there is potential for that. And, you know, I think it just kind of comes down to really just establishing the strike zone early and, you know, making them use their aggressiveness against themselves. And that's really going to enable him to do it because he's a horse, man. He's been here before. He knows what to do, and now it's just kind of up to him to go out and accomplish that.
Giovanni Gallardo, Chris Gimenez, and the rest of the Rangers looking for a win in this series opener against the Astros. The final of the regular season between these two teams will get things underway from Minute Maid Park after a quick timeout. We return from Houston right after this.
This three-game weekend series. And Tom's going to tell you now about the Rangers, Southwest Airlines Rangers lineup.
Well, for the Rangers, it'll be Delino DeShields leading off. Shin-Soo Choo will bat second. A .372 on-base percentage for him is 8th in the American League. Adrian Beltre leads the major leagues with 25 RBIs in September. Prince Fielder is the cleanup hitter. Mike Napoli will play left field and bat 5th. Mitch Moreland is 6th. Elvis Andrus, a .288 hitter against left-handed pitching, will bat 7th. Rougned Odor is 8th. And Chris Gimenez, the catcher, will bat 9th.
And that's Jeff Bannister's lineup. They will face the 31-year-old southpaw Scott Kazmir, a local product from Houston to Cypress Fair High School, and he is out tonight. 7-10 for the season. He's been a little bit of a decline, even though the Rangers have not had much success against him. He has not pitched as well as he did earlier with the Astros, and certainly with the Oakland A's before that. Well above average fastball, an outstanding changeup, and you'll throw an occasional breaking ball. But he is very tough, has been on the Rangers virtually every time he has faced him because he's been able to throw a lot of strikes. And the report on him lately is he has not been throwing as many strikes, hasn't been able to get that changeup where he's wanted it. We'll see if the Rangers can exploit that tonight. Now Delino DeShields to lead things off. Delino steps in, he got a 261 and a very solid series in Oakland. Rangers sweeping 3 over the A's. And he takes outside for ball 1. Delino, a couple of home runs. He has driven in 34. That RBI total has been on the uptick of late. 2 balls, no strikes. Well, the Rangers come in with a 3.5 game advantage over the Houston Astros. They are 5 ahead of the Los Angeles Angels. The Angels, you remember, finish off the season with the Rangers in Arlington. And Delino pops up the 2-0 pitch. Left center field, not very deep. Tucker makes the grab for out number 1. So DeShields out on a fly ball to left. Now Shin-Soo Choo will come up. First of all, let's take a look at the rest of the Astros defense behind Scott Kazmir tonight. You saw Preston Tucker in left field. Rasmussen center, Springer in right. Carlos Correa just 2 errors in his last 33 games. The young shortstop just turned 21 a couple of days ago. He's joined by Valbuena, Altuve, and Lowry around the infield with Jason Castro catching. 0-1 the count to Shin-Soo Choo. A 270 average for the Ranger right fielder. Now 0-2. Rangers have won 3 in a row, 8 of their last 10. They are 10 games over 500 this year on the road, 44 and 34. That is tied for the best winning percentage on the road in all of Major League Baseball. Rangers and the St. Louis Cardinals sharing that distinction. Off the fist, right back to Kazmir. And he throws a low strike over to Valbuena for the out. 2 gone. But Choo got that fastball right in on his knuckles. And hit a 1-hopper back to Kazmir. 2 up, 2 away. And Adrian Beltre now will step in. Well, here's Adrian, a 280 average. That's as high as it has been all year long. And he takes a strike from Kazmir. Adrian, 16 home runs, 70 RBI. And you talked about Beltre had just gone completely nuts in the month of September. Most RBI in all of Major League Baseball. And since the start of 2012, you see Adrian a 364 average against Houston pitching. Inside, and that moves the count to 2-1. Well, Beltre sits safely in 12 of his last 13 games. That goes back to that last homestand, plus the trip to Oakland. A 453 average for Beltre. Out of play to the right. That evens the count now at 2-2. Mentioned the RBI for Beltre. 25 RBI in the month of September, and this is the 25th day of September. So 5 more days to go, and Adrian leading everybody in baseball. He also has 40 RBI in his last 38 games. That goes back to the middle of August. Kazmir with the wind, the 2-2 pitch. Full count. Now with 2 outs, Beltre trying to get aboard here in the first. Prince Fielder, the Ranger DH, is in the on-deck circle. Castro flashing the signs out. Kazmir picks 1 out. Payoff pitch on the way. Lost him. Beltre not even thinking about offering it that breaking ball down and in. He takes the walk. He is aboard with 2 away for Prince Fielder.
You know, Adrian's never been a guy that's walked a lot. And obviously they're pitching him very carefully now, as hot as he is, especially lefty versus a right-hand hitter in this ballpark with a short porch out in left field. And Adrian has taken more walks now. He's walked 7 times now in his last 14 games.
Prince, a 3.03 average. That is good for 8th in the American League. He's been on a bit of a downturn over the last month and a half or so. And he takes the first pitch in for strike one. The Prince with his 22nd home run of the year yesterday. And in this ballpark, he has done a lot of damage over the years. 59 games. He has driven in 47. And he has hit .332 with 15 home runs. Kazmir will look at first. Fielder drive left center field. It is up the alley. It is off the wall. Beltre being waved around third. Here comes Adrian. There will be no throw, and Prince Fielder gets the Rangers on the board. An RBI double. The Rangers lead it 1-0. Oh, and that is huge in this first inning of this first game.
Well, it just seems like the Rangers over the last couple of weeks are getting on the board early. It certainly happened in the Oakland series. They scored early, they scored in the middle, they scored at the end. They just kept the runs coming. And against Scott Kazmir, it was 2 up and 2 down in 5 or 6 pitches. And then Kazmir threw that fastball right down the middle of the plate, and Prince jumped on it. Fortunately, when this ball hits the wall on a hop in the gap, it doesn't bounce right straight back to the outfielders. It kind of bounces up in the air, stayed near the wall, and that's why Adrian was able to come around and score.
Well, Mike Napoli fouling off that first pitch. Here's what Tom was talking about.
He stays right in the corner, which takes a little longer. It's a little bit longer throw, and Adrian's able to come all the way around.
Yeah, I thought when he hit that ball, it was going to come right back to Rasmussen.
I did too.
No way Adrian is going to be able to score.
Yep, I'm thinking we're going to need a 2-out hit with men in second and third.
We could use that anyway, but we got to run across no matter what. Napoli, a rip and a miss at the changeup. It is 0-2. Napoli getting his 8th start of his career in left field. Against Kazmir, Knapp has not had much success. 2 for 17. And he's got Fielder out there at second. In an overshift by the Astros. You get 3 men on the left side of the infield with Napoli at the plate. A lot of room to the right if Knapp takes it that way. Still 0-2. Here's that hole we're talking about between Altuve, the second baseman, who's a normal shortstop right now, and the first baseman, Valbuena. There's got to be a good 105 feet. And that's a pretty significant hole because Napoli has been known to take a fastball the other way from time to time. Knapp in the last several ball games, he has been on fire. And that's one reason, or that is the reason, why Jeff Bannister's found a way to get him into the lineup against left-handers. 0-2 the count as Castro flashes the signs out. Got him swinging. Kazmir went up with a little extra. He gets the strikeout, but the Rangers get the early lead. A run on a hit and 1 left after a half inning. Rangers 1, Astros coming up. first inning, and he already has a 1-0 lead. Tom's going to tell you about the lineup he will face from the Astros.
Well, it's going to start out with Jose Altuve like it usually does. George Springer, the right fielder, will bat second. Carlos Correa, young outstanding shortstop, will bat third. Jed Lowry gets the start tonight at third base and the cleanup role. Kobe Rasmus is the center fielder. Evan Gattis will hit sixth. He's had 4 home runs and 12 RBIs in his last 13 ball games. Luis Valbuena will bat seventh. Preston Tucker is the 8th place hitter, and the catcher Jason Castro will bat ninth.
And that's the lineup that Giovanni Gallardo will be dealing with tonight. First pitch of the evening is a fastball right on the outside corner for strike one. Our progressive scouting report on Giovanni. Trying to get deep into the ball games. You heard Chris Jimenez talking about it with Emily Jones before we got underway. And he'll try to be more aggressive early in the game to establish that strike zone very quickly here in the first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike to Altuve. But that's a lot easier said than done sometimes. It's a very simple thing, very simple idea, a very difficult thing to implement.
Yeah, it is, Buzz, when you're pitching in this ballpark against the team that's got the second most home runs in all of baseball. Kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. You want to throw more strikes, but at the same time, you need to be careful because the home run ball is probably the key to their offense all season long.
And, you know, Tom, in stark contrast to the ballpark we just came from in Oakland, where at night you almost say, okay, I fall behind a hitter. Here's a fastball up and away. Go ahead and hit it as far as you want to center field or right center or left center. You can't do that here. You've got about a 40-foot wide alley in straightaway center where it's a good poke. See Tallis Hill out there in center field. Everything else, the ball jumps, and it's not very deep once you get from left center around to the left field line and right center around to the right field line.
Now in left field, it's a little bit longer than the Green Monster, but it feels like the Green Monster here sometimes when you see those pop-ups go out of there.
2-2 pitch, and Altuve lines it to right. Chu is going to have to go into the corner to cut it off, and Altuve is going to have himself a stand-up double. Well, Jose Altuve starts the first inning for the Astros in an opposite field two-bagger, his 36th of the year.
They're trying to throw him away. Ball starts out away, comes back and catches the plate. Probably wouldn't have mattered to Altuve. He was going to swing at it anyway. Might not have hit it quite as solidly, though, if it was 4 to 6 inches farther outside like he intended it to be.
Well, Altuve at second, nobody out. Here is George Springer, the right fielder. First pitch is low for ball 1, and this is where the Rangers really need the veteran leadership of Giovanni Gallardo to come through. Giovanni has been through the wars before. He knows what's expected. He knows how to pitch in situations like this. Now the Rangers really need to rely on him here tonight in a very important ball game. Put up some zeros for him. Ground ball off of his glove right to Elvis. Well, there's some veteran leadership. Deflect the ball right to your shortstop.
Yeah, that was very fortunate that it turned out that way. Could have been even better if Altuve took another step toward third base. They might have gotten him. It's a pretty hard hit ball by Springer. Looks like it was headed right up the middle. Fortunately, Giovanni was able to get a glove on it, and even more than fortunately, it bounced right straight to Elvis instead of somewhere else.
So it goes 1-6-3 if you happen to be keeping score along with us. That is a very big out number 1 because Altuve didn't go anyplace. He stayed right at second. Carlos Correa now, the young shortstop. A .278 hitter steps to the plate. Just off the outside edge. 1 ball, no strikes. Correa with 19 home runs, 58 RBI. He is a couple of home runs shy of the Houston rookie record. Lance Berkman hit 21 in his rookie campaign for the Astros. 1-0 pitch coming from Gallardo. Instead, a little turnaround to second. Altuve, you need to keep an eye on. He's the stolen base leader in the American League. And he's not at all opposed to trying to steal third. In at the knees, 1 ball and 1 strike to Correa. Correa, as we mentioned, just turned 21 day before yesterday. Still the youngest position player in all of Major League Baseball. This is 91st game of the year. Came up in early June. On the outside corner. Giovanni doing a little painting. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We'll get our pitch tracker working for you again here shortly and get that back up. Meanwhile, Yovani Gallardo checking second. 2-2. Astros in this ballpark, the best record in all of baseball. They are 51-27 at home. As we talked about during the series up in Arlington, they've been having a devil of a time outside of this park. But here at home, they have been playing extremely well. In the dirt, Jimenez blocks it, but Altuve off on the first bounce. And he is into third base in the wild pitch.
Oh, he was gone the minute that thing hit the dirt. He didn't even wait to see where it bounced to. Oh, look, he went so quickly, it almost looked like he was stealing third base. Very aggressive, but that ball bounced right straight up. Chris would have had him off of second base, would have had a chance to pick him off second base. He'd taken a big secondary lead, and I don't think he could have gotten back to second base.
Well, the count is full now. With Altuve at third, the Rangers are going to pull the infield all the way in. 1 out here in the first inning. Gallardo with a payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Now Correa trying to lift that low fastball, and Giovanni gets a big strikeout. There are 2 gone. Now we'll take a look for a moment here as the Ranger defense delivers to you tonight. My break check. Outfield of Napoli to Shields and Chu. The infield, Elvis, just 1 error in his last 40 ball games. A very solid job at shortstop. He's joined by Odor, as always. Mitch Moreland and Adrian Beltre at the corners with Chris Jimenez behind the plate. Now 2 outs, and Jed Lowry, the switch-hitting third baseman, steps to the plate. Lowry just a .236 hitter. 1 ball and no strikes. We'll go back to the Correa strikeout for you.
He made a good pitch, threw it on the outside corner, and Correa's not a big strikeout guy. Generally, a guy in that situation with the infield in, you have a pretty good feeling he's got a chance to knock in that run. But Giovanni threw him pretty much the same pitch that he threw to Altuve. Came back, caught the plate, wasn't able to make any contact with it.
And Gallardo misses outside to Lowry. 2 balls, no strikes. Lowry 9 home runs, 30 driven in. Pretty good numbers against Yovani Gallardo. 3 for 10. Ranger infield shifted around 3 or 4 steps to the right. And that is a little bit low. 3-0. Good look at the Ranger defensive setup. Now 3-0 to Lowry. He's hitting 4th. He'll be followed by the center fielder, Colby Rasmus. Altuve coming down the line from third. Gallardo checks him in the 3-0 pitch. Out of play. Now there's a pretty good indication if you're wondering about whether the Astros are tense or tight about this series. A.J. Hinch letting his number 4 guy go ahead and swing, and he's not, Jed Lowry's not really a number 4 hitter. He just happens to be hitting 4th, but he said, fine, you know, we've got nothing to lose. Let's go ahead and go for it all right from the get-go.
He got a good pitch to hit,
yeah,
too.
Well, that might give you a pretty good clue as to the Astros' mindset about this. And that's outside for ball 4. No runners at the corners for Rasmus. And that's also, that kind of philosophy is also what pitchers have to keep in mind if you happen to be pitching against them. You're a Ranger pitcher. You got to mark that down in your memory bank. Store that away, because when you think that somebody's going to automatically have a take sign or not try to steal sign, you may have to think again about these guys. They may just throw caution to the wind and do everything they possibly can. Rasmus, a .233 hitter with 21 home runs and 53 driven in. Rasmus, 7 out of 22 against Gallardo in past matchups. 1 ball and no strikes. Giovanni had mentioned that one thing he wanted to do in this ballpark, talking about pitching in a small park like Minute Maid, said, I've really got to focus on keeping the ball down. And he has been doing that here in the first inning, and it's caused him to miss a few times down. Skied to left center field. Napoli coming on. Mike still coming on. Reaches up and makes the catch for the final out. No runs, a hit, 2 men are left. We're going to the second in Houston. The Rangers won, the Astros nothing. This season. It comes up this Tuesday. And the first 15,000 fans receive a Yu Darvish gnome thanks to Nitto Tire. Get to TexasRangers.com. Get your tickets for the last giveaway of the 2015 season. Well, Rangers maintain a 1-0 lead. And Mitch Moreland will start things off here in the Rangers' second. Kazmir misses inside. Mike Napoli made that catch to end the bottom of the first, and big smile on his face. Getting high fives from everybody, low fives.
Nap gets the reception after a fly ball that most guys get when they hit a home run.
Well, don't you know, though, that his teammates are happy for him, that he kind of overcame that last error that stood out in Oakland.
Yeah.
Guys said, yeah, nice going, Nap. You can get a little more confidence. 2-0 pitch, and that off-speed pitch floats in. It's 2-1. Moreland, the team leader with 23 home runs, 82 runs driven in, hitting at .285. Solid all-around year for Mitch Moreland. 3-1. Well, Moreland trying to get aboard to start the Rangers second. Elvis Andrus is waiting in the on-deck circle. Kazmir to the plate. Moreland drives one to center field. Going back is Rasmus. Still going back. It's over his head and up Towles Hill. Moreland into second with a booming double.
Boy, he grooved that 2-1 pitch. 2-0 pitch, he threw him a slider. Then he threw that pitch, or 3-1, whatever it was, threw it right down the middle. And that's a home run. And, I don't know if it's every park, but a lot of ballparks, let's put it that way.
Every one but this one in Yellowstone.
That's right in the center square. And if it's 436, that one must have gone 420 anyway.
Kind of reminiscent of the ball he hit the other night in Oakland. It just kept going.
Yeah, left center field.
No, Moreland with a leadoff double. And now Elvis will try to get him over or get him in. Elvis, .259 with the average, 7 home runs. That's a new career high. And 59 RBI. And he takes low for ball 1.
Rasmus is playing deep to begin with. It looked like he got a pretty good jump on it. That sailed over his head in a hurry. He didn't have too much time to take very many steps going after that ball. It got there so quickly.
Ooh, Elvis a pretty good rip at that low fastball. 1-1. Elvis gritting his teeth and doggone it. Career against Scott Kazmir. Elvis .261 hitter, 12 for 46. But we'll keep reminding him this is not the same Elvis Andrus that we've seen for 7 years. In the last 2 months of this season, he has been a totally different hitter, consistently different. A bunt, and it's a good one. Kazmir fielding it, throws it wide down the right field line. Elvis is safe around third. Coming in to score is Moreland. And the Rangers with a small ball after the ringing double lead 2-0.
I just love the way Elvis is playing right now. You know, he's got such great baseball instincts. He knows how to play the game. And it's a little bit more fun for him now that he's driving the ball. He leads the team in doubles. He had a fastball to hit and missed it. And that time when he decided to bunt, he gets a changeup. He couldn't have gotten a better ball to bunt than the changeup. Kazmir knows he doesn't have much time. In fact, he doesn't have any time at all, and just sails it right by Altuve.
That's going to be scored an infield single, a bunt single, and that's something the Rangers lead the world in. No RBI as Moreland scores on the throwing error. And now Odor trying to bunt his way aboard. The Rangers pulling out the bunting here early.
Well, you look at they've got guys that can bunt.
Yeah.
And bunt for a base hit. DeShields has a ton of bunt hits. Elvis, Odor's a good bunter. Chu's a good bunter. He doesn't bunt very much, and you know the way he's swinging, you really don't want him to bunt that much. But that's a weapon for the Rangers, and it has been frequently.
Yep. You know, he mentioned they lead the American League in bunt base hits. They lead baseball in bunt base hits. Bunt base hit by Elvis, their 38th of the year. Now the infield, as you can see, pulled around to the right. The overshift on for Rougned Odor. Elvis a pretty good lead at first. Pitch in the dirt. Elvis going to second. The throw is in time, and they got him. Elvis trying to pull an Altuve, going on first bounce. And the ball came right up to Castro, who made a good throw.
Yeah, a couple of things happened on that were different than the one that Altuve took the extra base on. That one came right up to the catcher. And Elvis wasn't as close to second base and didn't get quite the same jump that Altuve got. Castro throws a strike, and Elvis didn't have a chance.
No.
Aggressive. Good try.
That doesn't go down as a caught stealing for Elvis. It's just a 2-6 putout, since he wasn't on the move with the pitch. And Odor grounds to first. That is out number 2 as Valbuena takes it to the bag. The Rangers doing some things to kind of rattle the cage of Scott Kazmir early here.
He's gotten behind in the count. Well, he walked Adrian with 2 outs. Adrian came around to score. He got behind Mitch, grooved a fastball.
The left-handers have done the damage as far as driving the ball. Both Moreland and Fielder with doubles. One producing an RBI and one setting up a run scored. Chris Gimenez takes low and inside for ball 1. Gimenez now with the average up to 272. That's that 4-game hitting streak. A 462 average over those 4 games. That ball's ripped to left field. It is hooking into the garage door area. That's going to be at least a double. Gimenez to second. He's going to try for third. And the throw will not be made by Altuve. It's a triple for Gimenez.
Yeah, they are teeing off on Kazmir. That's the 3rd rocket in the last 6 hitters they've hit against him. Here's another ball that, in some ballparks, that's a home run. It's a home run in Baltimore for sure. And it would have been a home run here if he got it up in the air a little bit, because he hit this right on the barrel of the bat with a great swing. We weren't close enough to hear it, Buzz, but I'm pretty sure that had that sound, you know.
I think so, yeah. But he had plenty of distance. If he'd hooked it about another 5 feet, it would have gone to the Crawford box.
It would have.
Well, Chris Gimenez in safely with a triple. The guy's giving it to him from the bench, and Chris is giving it right back to him. Boy, he is some kind of hot right now. 5 consecutive games that he has hit safely in. But he's the 3rd with 2 outs, back to the top of the Ranger order for Delino to Shields. And the Ranger contingent starting to make noise here, and that's inciting the Astros fan to retaliate. A shout off. Delino, there's swing and a miss. By the way, that triple for Chris Gimenez, the 1st of his career. Maybe he was having a talk with Evan Gattis before the game.
Yeah. Well, Gattis has 9.
Yeah.
And prior to this year, he'd only had 1 in his whole career. Nice play by Castro.
It's like Delino. Yeah, Delino got hit by the pitch. He was grimacing, and I couldn't figure out what in the world happened.
I had no idea.
Got hit on the shin. That ball bounced up and hit him. No, that's going to put runners at the corners with 2 outs and bring up Shin-Soo Choo. Choo up there, runners at 1st and 3rd. Choo hit one right back to Kazmir in the 1st inning. Delino messing around with Luis Valbuena over there at 1st. Kazmir checking 1st. And Choo takes inside for ball 1. Choo 1 for 4 yesterday. Did have a couple more walks. Scored a couple of runs. Last 8 ball games, Shin-Soo Choo has been a 500 hitter. He's gone 14 for 28. Low and outside, 2 balls and no strikes.
And Castro's got some good hands behind the plate. Picked that one like a middle infielder.
And we talk about Beltre's September. How about the September Shin-Soo Choo is having? There's that clean pick for you, Tom.
Yeah, pretty slick back there. Yeah, in September, Choo's got a .539 on base percentage.
High and tight, 3-0.
Well, if he walks Choo, then he's got to face Beltre, and I'm sure that's not what he wants.
Adrian in the on-deck circle would love to come up with the bases full. 3 balls, no strikes. Kazmir to the plate. 3-1. And we'll take that back a little bit longer time frame. Since the All-Star break, Jew is hitting .343. Looper to left field, coming on quickly as Tucker, he dives, he can't get it. It falls for a hit. Going around to third is DeShields in to score Jimenez. And Shin-Soo Choo with a base hit makes it a 3-0 Ranger lead.
Well, generally, a softly hit ball to left field has a great chance to be caught because the left fielder can play so shallow because of the wall out there is so shallow. But even with that in play, that little blooper fell in front. Great try by Tucker. Aggressive play. He knows a run's going to score if he can't catch it. So he goes all out. But the little blooper evaded his glove, and Shin-Soo picks up another hit.
Tucker did a good job of keeping that ball close to him, because if that ball gets a little bit further away.
With Delino running.
Yeah, Delino comes in standing up. So a 3-0 Ranger lead, and Adrian Beltre stepping in looking to make it more. Beltre walked and scored in the first. Changeup floats wide. It's 1 ball, no strikes.
When Kazmir throws his best games against the Rangers, he really has a good changeup. That keeps the Rangers off his fastball. And for him to pitch well against the Rangers, and really against most teams, he has to have his good changeup. It has to be effective pitch for him. Without that, and he tends to struggle.
Yeah, we mentioned that's been one of the problems that people around the Astros would tell you, that Kazmir has not had command of that changeup. And as you mentioned, Tom, that's kind of devastating for him.
Yep.
He only worked 3 2/3 innings his last time out. That was against Oakland. And 3 times ago against Seattle, only got 4 1/3 out of it. So it's been a couple of starts in there that were kind of clunkers, according to Scott Kazmir. 1 ball, 1 strike to Beltre. To right field, going back is Springer into the corner and makes the catch, running away from home plate. And Beltre gave it a ride, but Springer ran it down. That'll do it. But the Rangers get 2 runs on 3 hits. They strand 2. And after 1.5, Rangers by 3. Hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan, and your photo might show up in one of our upcoming Ranger broadcasts. It's all brought to you by the good folks at T-Mobile. We will show you tonight's selection a little bit later on. Well, Giovanni Gallardo takes a 3-0 lead out with him to the hill for the 2nd inning Evan Gattis, Luis Valbuena, and Preston Tucker, the first three Astro hitters. Gattis, the DH, and he takes a belt-high strike. It is 0-1. Gattis, a .241 hitter. He is the team leader with 26 home runs and 85 driven in. Got him on the fists, and Elvis takes care of the one hopper. One gone. Good pitch by Gallardo. Getting that pitch in on the hands of Gattis. Next will be Luis Valbuena. I like what I've seen from Giovanni, getting to swing the bat early, even when he has that lead out there.
He throws a lot of pitches away to the right-hand hitter, so if he does come in there and keep the ball in, he's got a great chance of getting them off the handle like that. Continues to have one of the best ground ball percentages in the league, the 8th best, over 50% ground ball percentage.
First pitch to Valbuena, big overhand curveball that drops in for strike one. Rangers in an extreme overshift with Valbuena. A career high 22 home runs for Valbuena this year. His previous high was 19 with the Cubs. As you noted, the experience factor against Giovanni Gallardo for Valbuena is pretty high. 28 at bats. He's 9 hits, a .321 average. Another breaking ball, and that one a little bit low and outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The shift with Elvis a good 15 feet over on the first base side of second. Rougned Odor out there giving smoke signals so people know where he is. Down shallow right or medium right. Giovanni's 1-1 pitch. Straightened him up. 2-1. Valbuena, one of the more experienced bats that the Astros brought in. He has been around a little bit. He and Evan Gattis kind of lending a little bit of the experienced voice, the veteran voice to that lineup. Going the other way. Beltre smothers it. Recovers, throws him out. Beltre had 90 feet of the left side of the infield to patrol, and he did it flawlessly.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of plays like that where the third baseman dives that far towards second base. You see the shift on. You see Adrian's the only guy over there. And it sure looked like Valbuena was trying to do exactly what he did.
Yeah.
Only he was hoping it would roll into left field. One guy there, but one guy was all they needed.
With most third basemen, it would have gone into left field. Well, Adrian, some more glove magic. 2 gone. Here's Preston Tucker. One ball, no strikes. Tucker, a .247 average with 13 home runs, 33 driven in. He is 13 home runs, 5th among American League rookies this year. Lonnie gets that breaking ball over. It's 1-1. And Tucker, the guy that he hits right-handers, and that's what he is there for. He is a left-handed hitting side of the platoon for the Astros. Hits this one well to right center field. It is up the alley and deep. Way back, it's off the wall. Delino plays the Karam Tucker in with a booming double. High off the Geico sign and deepest right center field.
There's another ball that's a home run in a lot of ballparks. That ball hung up there and went a long way. And the only question all the way was whether it would hit the wall, short hop the wall, or go over the wall. Fortunately, it hit the wall and came back. So with 2 outs, Giovanni again will have a chance to pitch around it. And Tucker gave that a ride. It's a home run right off the top third of the wall. Wow. Giovanni survived a leadoff double to Altuve and got out of the first inning. Now trying to get around a 2-out double and get Jason Castro right here. Get out of the second inning.
Well, Castro steps in batting at .214. 11 home runs and 30 RBI. He's back off the disabled list. Had the strained quad that kept him inactive for about 3.5 weeks. This is 7th game since coming back off the inactive list. 7 for 20 in his career against Giovanni Gallardo as Jason Castro. One ball and 1 strike to Castro. Castro in the midst of an 0 for 12 excursion at home plate. Astros just got finished with a 3-game series with the Angels. Angels won 2 out of 3 here. Two balls and a strike. Giovanni Gallardo making his 32nd start a year. That's the most on the Ranger club. He and James Shields, the only 2 active pitchers with 7 consecutive years of at least 30 starts. Pulled the string, had Castro out in front, 2-2. Pitch that we don't see Giovanni Gallardo throw too often, that straight changeup.
Yeah, and if you can get that kind of a result, keep the ball down like that, might be a good idea to throw more of them.
Yeah, and I think he reserves it for guys like Castro that have pretty good home run power from the left side. 3-2. Well, Castro, the number 9 hitter, trying to get aboard to join Preston Tucker. Jose Altuve, the leadoff man, is in the on-deck circle. Outfield plays Castro just about straight away. The infield in that overshift. Gallardo a check of second. And the payoff pitch. We'll try it again. I would think Giovanni really want to go after Castro. You don't want to have Altuve come up as the tying run, even though it's only the 2nd inning. Three balls, 2 strikes. Lost him. Win with a breaking ball, and Castro laid off. 2 on with 2 out.
Actually,
second walk.
Yeah, with a 3-2 count, I'd almost expect Castro to swing at that pitch. He doesn't walk very much. He strikes out a ton. But he foiled the attempt right there. He did take it. Now you got to face Altuve. One thing that was very apparent in Texas in the 4-game series was with men in scoring position, Altuve swung at everything. If you threw it eye high, he swung at it. You threw it the dirt, he swung at it, inside, outside. Let's see if he expands the plate at all in this at bat with a man in scoring position. Really worked against him in Texas. Rangers got a couple of really big outs in that series when Altuve did swing at pitches like that.
Yep. Well, Altuve doubled into the right field corner his first time up. Likes to swing early in the count and takes this one a little bit low. That's that cutter slash slider from Gallardo, and Jimenez is going to go out and talk to Giovanni.
I think in Texas, he would have swung at that pitch.
Hit leaders in the American League. And Altuve right there at the top, 189, and Prince Fielder in 5th. He has 175. Bogarts, Kinsler, Donaldson, all in the mix in the top 5. Conference concluded. Now Jimenez back down behind the plate. Gallardo gets the sign. 1-0 pitch. That one got the low outside corner.
Yep. Altuve being very cautious there. It's almost like he's learned from his experience in Texas. Slow things down a little bit with men in scoring position, not be quite so jumpy and anxious.
A hot hitter, as you can see, 400 in the last 6 ball games for Altuve. got a fastball to work with, fouled it back. And Gallardo now ahead of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Altuve, a 4-game hitting streak. He's seen him go 7 for 14. Went 6 for 13 against the Angels in that just completed series. Got Tucker out at second base, Castro at first. Gallardo ready with the 1-2 pitch. We'll try it again. Altuve with a very quick bat. He will foul off a lot of good pitches.
Well, Altuve on the season a 314 hitter. He's a 308 hitter with men in scoring position, so he's the same guy.
And as that figure told you, 10.6 at bats per strikeout, one of the toughest to fan. Another 1-2 from Gallardo. And another pitch spoiled.
The one pitch we've seen him strike out a couple of times on in this situation, especially after all these pitches down and away, is if Gallardo could throw that high fastball about, nose high, tailing up and in. We've seen him swing at that pitch.
Yep.
And he might be a little susceptible to it after all these pitches down and away.
The one thing that requires is that Giovanni have confidence that he can get it up there.
Yeah, and that's I don't know if he does or not.
I don't either. And Gallardo will drive Tucker back with a little move. Altuve adjusting that batting helmet. He's back in. Gallardo leaning in for the sign. Just missed the outside corner. That was the same pitch that Altuve hit the other way for a double. Mike Maddox, Jeff Bannister keeping an eye on this matchup right here. Altuve with a 2-ball, 2-strike count, representing the tying run here in the second inning. At the plate with 2 outs, he has 2 on. Got him swinging.
He kept it out there, and eventually he got him to chase it.
Gallardo with his second strikeout of the night. Altuve furious at himself. And the Astros do not score. They strand 2. Prince Fielder starting things off for the Rangers when we come back with Texas on top 3-0. regular season is also Fan Appreciation Day. Join us in fan appreciation festivities and be sure to get to the ballpark early because the first 30,000 fans will receive a voucher good for a free ticket in 2016. Visit TexasRangers.com or call 972-RANGERS to get your tickets for Fan Appreciation Day or any of the remaining 7 home games. Well, Prince Fielder had the RBI double in the first inning, and he goes after this pitch and skies to center field. This one playable for Rasmus. And Prince flies out. That is out number 1. And before Mike Napoli steps in, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Mike Napoli taking the first pitch outside for ball 1. Knapp went down swinging the first time that he faced Scott Kazmir. That was back in the first inning. Rangers 3 runs on 5 hits here in the early going off Kazmir. And that is a strike.
Yikes.
According to Larry Vanover, the home plate umpire. Not according to Mike Napoli, judging by the look on his face. 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Knapp has had hits in each of his last 2 games. He's gone 3 for 6. Remember, he had started all of the games lately against left-handers. He hammers one to left for a base hit.
Waited on the changeup.
Yep. And I guess you would say that even when Kazmir gets the changeup in the strike zone, it's not really in a good spot.
No, it just hasn't been effective yet, as we've seen it sometimes in the past. Down and away, but Knapp waited on it. Still got the good part of the bat on it.
Well, the 6th Ranger hit tonight. Napoli at first with 1 out. Mitch Moreland blasted a double over the head of Colby Rasmus in center field his first time up. Well, Mitch really swinging the bat well, and he's already had 5 home runs this year against left-handed pitching, and that's pretty significant. It's the most he's ever had against left-handers in 1 year. 0-1. Mitch in his last 14 ball games has driven in 14 with 5 home runs. He's been on a pretty good roll. Again, the Ranger leader in game-winning RBI. 1 ball and 1 strike. Already a career high for Mitch with 82 runs driven in. He's tied his career high in home runs with 23. Astro infield playing around to the right. They are in the overshift with Moreland up there. Round ball to the right side. That's cut off by Altuve. Napoli will advance to second. Moreland thrown out. They're now 2 away for Elvis Andrus. So Knapp in scoring position. Elvis had a bunt single in the second. He was making sure there was a sacrifice situation. He was going to make sure he got a bunt down for a sacrifice. It turned into a base hit. 38th bunt base hit for the Rangers this year. And for Elvis, his 9th. He's just 1 behind the league leader, Delano DeShields. Kazmir, a long look at second. Changeup floats outside for ball 1. Elvis this year came into the ball game tonight hitting at .288 against left-handers. See, in the last 12 ball games, he's hit over 300. It's fouled out of play to the right, and it evens the count at 1-1. We talked about the importance of the Rangers scoring early, and they have done that tonight. They scored in the first inning again. When they score first, they are 64-22 this year. Rangers now, with the run they scored in the first tonight, have scored 108 first inning runs. That's the third most in the major leagues. Only the Yankees and the Rockies have more in the first inning. Elvis takes a strike. Vanover calling the upper reaches of the strike zone. Elvis shaking his head. 1 ball, 2 strikes. And Elvis in that streak that better than half of his last 15 hits have gone for extra bases. Kazmir, a check of Napoli at second. Elvis reaches out, pokes it to left field. Correa going out, makes the catch. And that will do it. Looked good for a moment, but Correa able to track it down. No runs, a hit, 1 left after 2.5. Rangers 3, Astros nothing. Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Giovanni Gallardo facing George Springer to start off the bottom of the third. Gets him to swing at that off-speed breaking ball. It is 0-1. Springer, one hopper off of Gallardo's glove that carried him right to Elvis at shortstop. Got thrown out in the first inning. That was significant because Jose Altuve had led off the inning with a double. And Springer was not able to advance him. It turned out that Altuve was stranded at third in that first inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now 1-2.
Well, Giovanni's he's thrown a lot of pitches, but he's done a good job of mixing in all of his pitches. He's thrown a few changeups, a couple of good curveballs early in the count to get strikes. Thrown his cutter, thrown a slider, fastball in, fastball away. And as usual, he tries to carve all the outside edges of the strike zone without throwing it in the strike zone. And he'll stay out there too. Might need an extra walk here and there, but he is not going to come in and give you a good pitch to hit unless he makes a mistake.
So that note on George Springer, who's reached base in 23 consecutive ball games coming into tonight. Beltre had the double clutch. The throw is not in time. And Springer is on base again. Adrian couldn't get the handle as he played the long hop.
Well, Springer hustles every ball out, number one, and he can really run. And that puts pressure on the fielder. Adrian knows he's got to get rid of that ball quickly. If he's got plenty of time, then he gets the ball out of his glove easily. But with that little bit of a rush trying to get rid of the ball led to him bobbling it enough for Springer to get to first base.
Well, that'll be ruled a hit for George Springer. He has reached base safely now in 24 consecutive ball games. One on, nobody out. Carlos Correa, who struck out his first time, steps to the plate.
You get a tough guy to hit a ground ball like that to start an inning, and unfortunately, you can't turn that into an out. One thing we've learned: hit it there again, you'll be out.
Yep.
Very seldom do you see Adrian do that.
And Springer, one of those guys you really have to keep an eye on. He's got 15 stolen bases in 19 attempts this year. The Astros leading the American League in stolen bases, 112. Jimenez flashing the signs out. Gallardo, a check of first. And he will go over there with a toss. Good thing Giovanni Gallardo is not running for office down here.
I've never quite figured out why that riles the opponent's fans so badly when you throw over to first base like that. It was definitely a hot spot.
The stall tactic. One ball and no strikes. Giovanni had 49 pitches so far, 26 strikes, 23 balls. Right-hander, a belt high set. Now 2-0. Gallardo with a lot of success against the Astros. He's 2-1 this year, but go back over his entire career, he's 15-4 against Houston. Of course, most of the guys on this Houston club were not anywhere around when Giovanni started toiling against the Astros. Giovanni is a member of the Milwaukee Brewers. A lot of work here at Minute Maid Park. This is his 21st start in his career against Houston. That's the most against the Astros by any active pitcher. And again, it's a Houston welcome.
Well, Giovanni's accomplished one thing that the Rangers counted on when they acquired him, and that's make every start. The 32nd start of the year, 7 straight years he's had at least 30 starts.
2-1 to Correa. That evens the count.
Well, Cole Hamels got 4 double play balls yesterday. That was a pretty good double play pitch right there. Correa hit right on top of it. Hit it into the ground. There's Cole talking to Kobe. Kobe, the fly ball pitcher. Cole got the ground balls yesterday. Cole said, I'm not generally a ground ball pitcher, but I'm pretty proud of some of the pitches I made to get the ground balls yesterday. You see that ball sinking, tailing in to the right-hand hitter. If he did make contact, it would have been a ground ball.
Yep. Springer away from first, right there in the back of your screen. Got him swinging. Breaking ball down and away. A big strikeout for Giovanni Gallardo, his 3rd of the night.
If Correa goes back and watches that at bat, he'll say the pitch I missed was the 2nd strike that I fouled back. And then Giovanni just keeps it away, keeps the breaking ball slider down and away. Just like he got Altuve to chase for strike 3, he got Correa to chase right there.
Big out after the leadoff hitter got on.
Sure was. Well, one away now. Jed Lowrie, who walked in the first inning, steps in. Lowrie, the switch hitter, up there from the left side. Gallardo, a check of first. And he will go that way to drive Springer back. Lowrie this year has a .217 average as a left-handed hitter. He's .294 from the right side. Rangers a couple of steps around to the right on the infield. They're up a double play depth in the middle. Gallardo nods in agreement and sets again. 1 ball and no strikes. Gallardo making his 10th start here at Minute Maid. Comes in having gone 5-3 in the first 9 starts with an ERA of less than 3. It's .292. It's the 5th lowest ERA by any starter that's had 60 or more innings of work in this park. Just off the inside corner. 2 balls, no strikes. Ranger brain trust and the skipper going through a series of signs. Here's Jimenez peering in to see if any of that was meant for him. 2-0 the count. Now 2-1.
2-0, you think is a hitter. Okay, he's coming in with 1 now. He throws a strike, but it's tailing away and barely caught the outside corner. He's just not going to give in and throw you a good pitch to hit.
Had 2 threads of a seam on in the corner.
I think he just wears out the patience of the hitter.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That pitch they're looking for just never comes.
Springer on the move. The pitch is chopped right down to Mitch Moreland, and it's a foul ball.
Why?
I don't know. The first base umpire threw up his hands. That's Brian Knight down there.
What happened?
Jeff Bannister is going to go out and ask what happened.
Did the umpire say it hit his foot?
I don't know why else he would have said it's a foul ball. No, Jeff's going to walk down there along with Larry Vanover to talk to Brian Knight.
Looked like he was looking for shoe polish or something on the ball, but it just looked like a routine ground ball to first.
I thought so too. It was.
Yeah, he didn't. He's just acting like I grounded out to first base.
Yeah. Well, the umpires are going to get together now, an umpires conference out there, and they will review it themselves.
I mean, it's a fair ball. It didn't hit his foot.
Right.
Lowry's just upset that he grounded out to end the inning.
Yeah.
He's not thinking I got hit by a pitch. There's no way that. There's only 1 out. What do you do? Yeah. You should put the guy on second, call him out at first.
Larry Vanover, the crew chief and the home plate umpire, and what they're going to do, they're going to rule exactly like you said.
I want to see
Springer's
Lowry.
going to be
I want to see Lowry try to argue that call.
Now A.J. Hinch getting the full explanation from Larry Vanover, and I think what Larry is telling him, hey, we just messed up. There was a call made that was not correct, and we're going to rectify it.
Was Springer running on that play?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, okay, that's why Mitch just caught it and went to first.
How about if that ball had bounced over Mitch's head? The umpire standing there calling timeout.
If that ball had bounced over Mitch's head, Lowry would have been sprinting for second base. Okay, there we go. Springer is running. That's what confused me a little bit, why Mitch just concentrated on catching the ball for one out. He didn't have a play at second base.
So the upshot of it is Lowry is going to be out. First baseman unassisted on the putout. Springer's going to be at second base. There are going to be 2 outs. And Colby Rasmus now will be coming to the plate. A rather lengthy explanation for it. All that needed to be said is, hey, we made the wrong call. And we just fixed it.
Ball hit 5 feet away from us.
No, men on second, 2 outs. Colby Rasmus, who flied to left field, back in the first, will step in. So much for the pace of play. Rasmus a .232 average. First pitch from Gallardo is chopped foul for strike 1. Rasmus, who got into the lineup on an everyday basis when George Springer was out, still playing a lot lately, although he's 0 for his last 8. A.J. Hinch going with a guy that has a little more experience in their lineup. And in September, Rasmus has responded. He's hitting .271 in the month. Got 4 home runs and 7 RBI. This season is average with runners in scoring position a little bit higher than his overall average. He's got Springer at second here.
Run at him, run at him.
Now the throw down there goes into center. Springer's going to be up going to third. And the throw by Milano is not there in time.
That's one, as a catcher, when you get a guy that far off, all you have to do is just sprint right at him. Make him commit one way or the other and then throw it.
And that'll go on the books as an error on Chris Gimenez. Well, the count goes to 2 balls and a strike to Rasmus.
The Astros have had a man in scoring position all 3 innings. Villani's been able to pitch out of it. Springer,
ball is low.
Springer could have been out a couple of times.
Yeah.
Could have been out on the ground ball to lead off the inning in the first place. And that time he was trapped off, but managed to escape.
Well, the count has gone to 3-1 to Rasmus. Rasmus hitting 5th to be followed by the DH Evan Gattis. Gallardo back to the plate. Moreland cuts it off. Underhand to Gallardo. That will do it. So after all that, no runs a hit, 1 man left. There was 1 error. We finished 3 at Minute Maid. It's the Rangers 3, the Astros nothing.
head to the fourth, and we've talked about the resurgence of this team in the second half, and it is not lost on the guys in the clubhouse that their manager is a big part of that.
It's not easy being a manager, especially your first year in the new league. But the way he handles stuff is just been amazing. You know, our team might have the way he's been handled everything so far. He seems so calm all the time, even through, you know, when we were through tough moments during the season. He never give up on us. He never give up on any other guys. And he is, you know, he was just another guy out here. So I really, you know, that really impressed me a lot for him. And now that we're doing better, you know, he's still the same person.
So as Elvis mentioned, so important for this team to have a steadying force, especially when things were so bad early in the season. As Elvis mentioned, very even keel, kept very calm through all of that, and now they find themselves in first place. And you've got to think Jeff Bannister is in consideration for the American League Manager of the Year, guys.
Yeah, you'd have to have an investigation if he weren't. The job he has done, where this ball club has been this year, and where it is right now, yeah, I would hope so. He's in consideration. Rougned Odor starting off the Ranger fourth. Pitch fouled down. Rougned grounded out to first. His first time up there. That was back in the second. Rangers 3 runs on 6 hits thus far. The Astros no runs on 3 hits. Each club with an error. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Odor in his last 9 ball games here against the Astros, a .417 average. That one's chopped foul, and he'll stay alive. Rougned in his career with 5 home runs and 20 RBI against Houston. That's the most in those 2 categories that he has against any team. Remember here last year, a year ago this past May, and Rougned making his major league debut and wowed everybody. Had a good series, hit the ball in the second deck out in right field for his first major league home run. He's going to have to get a new bat after that. Pitch shattered his bat. Out number 1. Chris Gimenez will be next. Folks, the Texas Rangers are now taking deposits for the 2015 postseason suite rentals. And postseason suites are a perfect way to entertain your group of between 12 and 100. Visit TexasRangers.com/postseason suite to get all the details of this exciting opportunity. Chris Gimenez slammed a triple off the garage door out in left field. His first triple of his major league career came around to score. Gimenez now hitting at .280. Nice to see Chris's family. A lot of them up from the Central Valley in Oakland. That series up there. Gimenez now has reached safely into 11 of his last 12 starts. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kazmir missing just a little bit outside with that fastball. Kazmir 63 pitches thus far in the game. 38 strikes, 25 balls. That's outside also. 3 balls and a strike. But Gimenez trying to get aboard with 1 out here in the 4th inning. The top of the order, Delino to Shields will be next. The 3-1 on the way. Changeup floats in. Chris hitting out of that open stance against Scott Kazmir. That is out of play to the right. Kazmir, originally a New York Met draft pick out of high school. He was named the National Player of the Year as a high school pitcher down here in Houston. Mets signed him. Never got past Double-A with the Mets because they traded him. Big deal going to Tampa Bay. Hard hit ground ball was picked off cleanly by Valbuena.
Boy, they hadn't played right off the line like that.
No bases empty for Delino DeShields.
Well, 2 strikes. Chris is trying to put the ball in play, hit the ball where it's pitched. Did a pretty nice job of it. And sometimes that ball's right in the hole for a base hit. Definitely, if the guy's holding a runner on at first base. Valbuena was playing way off the line, able to make the play easily.
DeShields hit by a pitch his last time up. He is 0 for 1 officially tonight. Takes the off-speed, the breaking ball in for strike 1. Delino a 260 average. 1 ball and 1 strike. Told you about the series Delino had in Oakland. DeShields in that 3-game set went 5 for 11. He scored 5 runs, drove in 4 against the A's. Pops that next changeup back into the seats. 1-2. It was right here in this ballpark back in May, the first week in May, that Delino DeShields got his opportunity as Leonys Martin rolled over on his wrist trying to make a catch, and DeShields got into the lineup. Didn't come out. He just became a fixture. 2-2. With the exception of a couple of minor injury stints, Delino has been the everyday center fielder. Leonys Martin getting back into baseball playing shape. He's been doing everything except swinging the bat hard. That's the line back into the seats. Still 2-2. Just getting a piece of it, and Delino staying alive. He's going to have at least a 7-pitch at bat, and it's something that Delino DeShields has shown himself very capable of doing. Long at bats, seeing a lot of pitches, getting on the nerves of the opposing pitcher. Kazmir readying himself for another 2-2 pitch. On the way.
Getting Kazmir's pitch count up there a little bit. This will be his 75th pitch. If Delino gets on, he might get up around 80 through 4 innings.
And he's going to be on. That's a drive into the gap in left center. Delino going for 2. Rasmus, an off-balance throw, and Delino with a hustle double.
You could see that coming all the way.
Wow.
When he saw where that ball was headed, right between the outfielders, he never thought about staying at first base. He was gone.
20th double of the year for Delino DeShields.
Waited on it just long enough. It looked like a changeup, down and away. Rasmus knows he's going as well, but as a left-handed thrower going to his right, it's a little bit more difficult to get anything on the throw. Tried to get rid of it quickly to compensate for that, but there wasn't much he could do about it.
Well, DeShields smoking it into a double. A little flare out in left center field. And he's in scoring position now for Chu. 1 ball, no strikes. Jinsu dumped a single into left his last time up for an RBI. Drove in his 73rd run of the year. Jinsu 1 out of 2 tonight. Again, the Astros giving Chu a big hole on that left side. You got Correa, the shortstop, only a couple of steps to the third base side of second. Lowry, the third baseman, maybe 10 feet off the line. So there's a gigantic hole at your normal shortstop spot. Hard hit, but pulled foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Ranger average with runners in scoring position steadily climbing. It's now up to 249, 2 for 5 tonight. Ranger road average also coming up. It's at 240. 2-1. Rangers as a club hitting over 300 in their last 13 ball games. 303 to be exact. 91 runs in those 13 games. Seven runs per game. 2-1 as Kazmir sets. A check of DeShields at second. Two and two. Inning by inning. 18-23, 13 now 25 here in this fourth inning. It is taking its toll on Kazmir, and this is about the time of the ball game when you've had a high pitch count where pitchers will talk about hitting that wall a little bit. And another chopper foul outside first. Seems like the high pitch count innings start to mount up on you, and you're not able to consistently make the pitches that you think you should, or that under normal circumstances you would, command wise or stuff wise. Castro out to talk to Kazmir.
Well, it feels like another game where the Rangers have fouled a lot of pitches off. Last two hitters for sure. Chu has fouled a bunch off. Delino fouled a bunch of pitches off. This would be his 81st pitch, averaging over 20 pitches per inning.
Now the left-hander's ready. A check of second. Chu drives one to right. It is deep into the corner. Goodbye. Shin-Soo Choo, a 19th home run of the year. The Rangers lead it 5-0.
Rangers just have a lot of weapons right now, all the way through the lineup. You see Chris Jimenez batting ninth, driving the ball. He's been hot the last few days, and everybody else throughout the lineup getting the job done. Fielder hit a home run the other day, had a double drive in a run. Adrian's been hot. Chu might be the hottest hitter in the league in the month of September. Mitch is getting big hits. It's just 1 through 9, a complete team effort. This looked like a hanging breaking ball. That might be exactly what you're talking about, Buzz. A lot of pitches in 4 innings, can't make the pitch you want. There's the hanging slider, turns into a 2-run homer.
Well, invariably that happens, Tom, and is when you try to make field pitches, and a breaking ball is a field pitch. You get that fatigue on, you don't finish the pitch off the same way, and it doesn't have the movement or the execution.
Well, that's exactly what that looked like.
Chu with his 19th home run of the year. He's driven in 3 tonight. Now has 75 RBI. Rangers on top 5-0. And Adrian takes high. It's 3-1.
That was too far away. Spider-Man couldn't go up over the wall and catch that one.
Beltre takes a pitch right on the outside corner. Shin-Soo Choo, a single, a home run. Rangers now hit for the cycle tonight. Single, double, triple, home run. Payoff pitch. That ball's hit well to left field. Going back is Tucker. Leaps up. He can't get it. It's over his head. Beltre into second base with a double.
There's too many weapons right now, the way the Rangers are going. There's no relief. Got too many guys that are on 4-game hitting streaks, 5-game hitting streaks, hitting .340 in September. You name it. They've got it going right now. Got the first 2 outs, 2 ground balls to first base, 2 quick outs, then double, homer, double.
And a lot of pitches for those 3 hits, too.
I guess. 87 pitches.
Beltre teeing off on one. He gets a little elevation on that, and he's got a home run. You saw Josh Fields, the right-hander, loosening in the Astros bullpen. And Brent Strom out to try to give Scott Kazmir a chance to catch his breath.
Now, Kazmir, we've mentioned it a couple of times. He's had good success in his career against Texas. He's had 5 starts against the Rangers this year. He's 2-1 with a 1.60 ERA coming into the game. Well, he's generally a guy that's going to go 6, 7, 8 innings against the Rangers and pitch a strong game. But the Rangers have had his number today. They've lit him up through 4 innings. There have been line drives hit from foul line to foul line in this game.
You know, and that's one of the things I think, Tom, you miss when you rely on statistics to try and predict the outcome of a matchup like this. Here comes Fielder, and he lines one into center field. Coming on Rasmus. He can't get there. Beltre around third. The throw to the plate is wide. Beltre scores. Fielder on down to second after the RBI single. It's a 6-0 Ranger lead. Fielder with his second run driven in.
Well, the Rangers they have just got the Astros number right now. And they're just piling it on.
What I was going to say, we can catch up with this as time goes on. You might as well throw the matchups, what's happened in the past matchups against the Rangers away right now. This is a totally different Ranger team.
That's exactly right.
There is no statistic that can tell you how Scott Kazmir is going to do against these guys or anybody right now.
That's exactly right.
Now, pitching change underway here at Minute Maid. Rangers on top 6-0. Josh Fields coming in. We'll take a timeout. We're back right after this. With this 3-game series, coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. Then at 5:30 on FS1, it's the Brewers taking on the Cardinals. All that tomorrow on Fox and FS1. Well, Josh Fields is on hand now. The 29-year-old right-hander, make that 30-year-old right-hander, just turned 30 last month. He is on to pitch to Mike Napoli with Prince Fielder at second and 2 outs. Rangers with 4 consecutive 2-out hits. have plated 3 runs and threatening more. Fields for the season his 53rd appearance. 4-1, a 3.75 ERA. Opponents hitting only .210 against the right-hander. Rangers treated Scott Kazmir very rudely. 10 base hits off Kazmir. Kazmir walked 1, he hit 1, and struck out 1. Mike Napoli had one of those 10 hits, a single in the 3rd inning. Knapp is 1 for 2. Field sets a check the fielder. Will Swoll roll to 3rd. And up with it on across the diamond is Lowry. That will do it. So Fields gets the final out of the inning, but not before the Rangers get 3 across on 4 hits. Shin-Soo Choo with his 19th home run of the year. The big blast in the inning. On to the bottom of the 4th inning. Rangers 6, Astros nothing. On Fox Sports Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines and by Mazda. Giovanni Gallardo going to work now, and he fires strike 1 to Evan Gattis. Rangers have provided Gallardo a 6-0 lead here after 3.5 innings. Gattis 0 for 1. He lines one sharply to left center field. It is up the alley. Delino DeShields can't get it. It is off the wall, carrying away from Venable. Gattis going for his 10th triple of the year is in standing.
Well, if you're wondering how he got all his triples, there's how he got them. Oh, he ripped that ball. That was a line shot that went 400 feet. That's a strong guy. Threw a right off-speed pitch right in his wheelhouse.
Gattis with his 10th triple as an Astro this year. He is a third with nobody out. And Luis Valbuena hits one deep to right. And that ball is gone off the facing of the second deck. A 2-run home run. The Ranger lead is down to 6-2.
one of the keys when you play the Astros. You know they can hit the ball out of the ballpark. Now Buena hits number 23, added a nice little bat flip to it as well. Watch the bat flip. He knew that thing was gone.
Well, Mike Maddox out there to give Giovanni a chance to say, hey, wait a minute here. This is not what I had in mind. Didn't take long. There'll be some action starting in the Ranger bullpen. As Gallardo surrenders a triple and a home run to the first two hitters here in the fourth inning. Rangers still lead by 4. But Preston Tucker now coming up. Tucker had a double his first time up. One ball, no strikes. Breaking ball is high. It's 2-0. Chichi Gonzalez up and loosening in that Ranger pen. Gallardo with a 2-0 pitch. Popped up. Beltre out of the shallow left field makes the catch. One gone. Well, before we got a chance to say about the new left fielder, the gates open for the Astros. Will Venable is now playing in left field. He takes over for Mike Napoli. And Giovanni Gallardo restores a little bit of order anyway. He gets Preston Tucker to pop out. One gone. And Jason Castro now will step in. Now we're talking about Giovanni Gallardo. He had not had a whole lot of run support for the Rangers this year. He just had 3.67 runs per start. That was among the lowest in the American League. Third lowest, as a matter of fact. That run support figure you're talking about. Giovanni and Scott Kazmir only 3.7.
He is, up until today, he hasn't had a game this year where he's had 5 runs of support.
Exactly.
First time he's ever had 5 or more. It's today.
And the Stats Inc. ran that and said that no Ranger pitcher had ever made 30 or more starts without having at least one game of 6 or more runs. That ball's going to fall in the left. Castro, a little looping single in front of Venable. So 1 on, 1 out. Back to the top of the Astro order. Jose Altuve doubled his first time, struck out in the second inning. He struck out to end the second inning, and what was a critical punch out for Giovanni Gallardo. There were runners at first and second and 2 outs. And he got Altuve to end the inning. Altuve now a .315 average overall. Gallardo, a long look in. Now he is ready. 1 ball, no strikes. Altuve with that first inning double extended his hitting streak to 4 straight games. Since the All-Star break, Altuve has been a .342 hitter. Line to center, liner to Shields, though, has a bead drawn on it. That is out number 2. Back to first goes Castro. George Springer now will be next. Springer tonight has grounded out and had an infield single. Season average at 264 for Springer. He was a big cog missing for a couple of months from the Astros lineup. He had that fractured wrist. This came back off the disabled list September the 4th. Blowing away, 1 ball, no strikes. Making his 19th start is Springer since coming back off the DL. Galani okays the sign at check of first. 2 balls, no strikes.
Well, Giovanni zeroing in on 80 pitches in 4 innings, just like Kazmir was. 40 strikes, 35 balls.
And after watching what happened to Kazmir, I don't think Giovanni is going to have a terribly long leash to work with in this inning.
No. Well, it's that time of year. Get a lead. Andrews going to do whatever he can to hold on to it.
By the dive of Moreland into right field. Castro going around to third. Runners at the corners with 2 outs. And Carlos Correa is coming up.
For the 4th straight inning, Giovanni will try to get that out. Last out of the inning with men in scoring position. Springer had the little dribbler to third base for an infield hit. Hits this slider right off the end of the bat, just past Mitch, who dove and couldn't quite come up with it.
Well, here comes Correa. Gallardo has struck him out both times tonight. Correa with a 276 average. He has driven in 58. This in his 91st game of the year. First pitch from Gallardo. Elvis, a little flip to Odor, and that will do it. So the damage minimized. Astros get 2 runs on 4 hits, but lead 2. We'll go to the 5th inning here in Houston. It's the Rangers 6 and the Astros 2. Toronto, with a win tonight, is reduced their magic number to 7. Kansas City Royals have already clinched the Central Division. First time in their history to clinch that Central Division. Rangers magic number at 7. Mets down to 3. St. Louis at 6. And the Dodgers at 3. And say the Yankees are losing to the White Sox, so it's a chance that Toronto's magic number could be reduced to 6 here shortly. Mitch Moreland starting things off for the Rangers here in the 5th inning. Rangers on top 6-2. Josh Fields misses outside. 2 balls and no strikes. Mitch, a double and a ground out tonight. 1 out of 2, hitting at .286.
And the other thing that could affect the Rangers is who finishes with the best record. Kansas City is losing. Toronto has already won. It's kind of a battle between those two teams.
Mitch to left field. Tucker makes the grab. That is out number 1. I did forget to tell you about the Coors Light Cold Hard Pack. It's brought to you by Clean and Crisp Coors Light. Well, Mitch flies out. Now Elvis Andrus coming up. Elvis 1 out of 2 with a bunt single. Tom was telling you about the all the Rangers with 4 hit consecutive games and 5 hits, 5 games. Elvis starting a new streak. Took an 0 for yesterday. But you go back over the last 13 ball games now, and Elvis has hit well over .310. Fields with the 0-1 pitch. Fields will offer that slow curveball occasionally. And he's basically a cutter, slider, changeup kind of pitcher. The 0-2 to Elvis. Now a ball and 2 strikes. Fields out of Athens, Georgia. He was a Rule 5 pick by the Astros 3 years ago from the Boston Red Sox organization. Call strike 3. Elvis dropping his bat in disbelief, but he is gone on strikes. 2 gone.
Yeah, be careful with that. You don't want to show the umpire up. Borderline pitch. I can see why Elvis would be upset, but that's not the best thing to do.
That doesn't work too well.
Say something quick. Don't drop your bat.
A 2-away. Here's Odor. First pitch to him is high. Rubned twice tonight has grounded to first. 0 for 2. That batting average at an even .270. Rangers have not had a hit, an inning tonight without a base hit. Fields threatening to make it a 1-2-3 frame here in the 5th. A ball and a strike. One and 2. Rubned 2 for 5 in yesterday's game. He went 4 for 13 in that Oakland series. Had that one monster home run back on Wednesday night. 2 and 2. Odor now tied for 3rd among American League second basemen with those 15 home runs. There's a guy who missed 6 weeks of big league time. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes. Odor, you remember, spent the month of May and the first 2 weeks of June at AAA Round Rock. Got himself back together by hitting .350 down there. Since he has come back to the big leagues, he's hit .309. Andrew Faulkner loosening in the Ranger bullpen. Interesting.
Well, you wouldn't think he'd be throwing now if he wasn't coming in for the 5th inning.
Exactly. Andy Hawkins, the assistant pitching coach, bullpen coach out there. Payoff pitch coming to Odor. Laid off the breaking ball. He appealed down to third, and Ron Copel said, nope, he did not go. So Odor reaches on the 2-out walk.
A little bit impatient, swinging at the curveball before it, but after he did and after he saw it, he was able to lay off at that time.
Folks, Southwest Airlines is celebrating the arrival of 8 new nonstop destinations out of Dallas Love Field. Go to southwest.com/RangersLove to enter to win round-trip tickets. The 1-on 2-out, Chris Gimenez, 1 out of 2 steps in. Gimenez a triple and a run scored in the 2nd inning. Last time up, he shot one to the right side, but with nobody on base, Luis Valbuena, the first baseman, had a free run at it and made the play. Chris, a .277 average. Rangers, with Chris Gimenez behind the plate, have gone 22-4 in his 26 starts prior to tonight. You can call it mojo, you can call it blind luck, you can call it the Gimenez influence, whatever you want to call it. It's been working.
Yeah, I think once you get to that many games, it's a little bit more than luck.
Yeah,
got to have something to do with what Chris brings to the party.
One pitch in the air, but foul down the right side, back into the crowd. Well, as we talked about, and Jeff Bannister has made a point of reminding everyone that the job that both Chris Gimenez and Bobby Wilson have done handling the pitching staff. That's exactly what we brought them in for. They were capable of doing that. They've done a great job of whatever we've gotten from them offensively has been a plus. And they both contributed at times offensively. Next pitch is popped up. Way up there. Altuve waiting for it to come down out of the roof, and that will do it. No runs, no hits. The Walker left stranded. We played half the game here in Minute Maid Park in Houston. Rangers 6, Astros 2. Wednesday, the Rangers played the final game of a 3-game set against the Detroit Tigers. And it's the last chance for you this season to enjoy Dollar Hot Dog Night. Get to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets for this important AL matchup and savor the last Dollar Hot Dog Night of the year. Giovanni Gallardo back out to the hill to start this 5th inning. Jed Lowry leading off as Gallardo misses high and away for ball 1. Lowry, Rasmus, and Gaddis, the first 3 Astros to come up here in the 5th. Lowry has walked and grounded out. Sorry, Tom.
That's okay. After those 3, you've got Valbuena, Tucker, and Castro, 3 left-hand hitters, which maybe is why Andrew Faulkner's warming up out there, just in case Giovanni gets in trouble.
Well, Lowry out of the fly ball to left. Colby Rasmus coming up before he steps in. Let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. All right, Dana, thank you. Colby Rasmus takes a backdoor breaking ball for strike 1. Rasmus has flied to left, grounded to first. 0 for 2 tonight. Currently hitting at .232. Nice crowd on hand out here at Minute Maid Park, a near capacity crowd. Good crowds expected this entire weekend. Of course, Astro fans and a lot of Ranger fans have made the trip down I-45. Check out the goings-on in this critical weekend. The last 2 weekends, or last 2 series, I should say, between these 2 teams, really setting the stage for the advancing rivalry of these 2. Of course, the Silver Boot's been in existence for about 11 years now, and there's the Ranger group down the left field line. But it took something like this where they get the 2 teams in the same division, and all of a sudden going for a division crown between the 2 of them. And this thing has taken off. 2-2 to Rasmus. Gallardo with the next pitch. Call strike 3.
Nice pitch. That ball looked like it was going to be down and in, and just kind of slid right back over the plate. Good pitch by Giovanni.
Gallardo with his 4th strikeout of the night.
Nice pitch. I think Rasmus probably a little bit surprised where that ball ended up with all the movement it had on it.
Well, here's Evan Gaddis, who popped his 10th triple of the year last time up. Came around to score the first Astro run. Good slider / cutter for strike 1. Gaddis now at .242 with his average. One ball, 1 strike. Astros notes say that Evan Gaddis is the first player since Roy Howell back in 1980 to have at least 9 triples in a season without stealing a base. How about that?
Roy did that too, huh?
Hit hard, a fair ball. That'll carry him back into the field of play. Gaddis going for 2. The throw is wide, and he is in safely.
Ball hit the ball.
Yep. Hit the ball boy down there on the carom.
Elvis makes a good throw. He's got Gaddis by 5 feet at second base. You see, Gaddis just said, I was out. Ball comes back. Hits the ball boy. Elvis makes the play right here. He's got him by a wide margin, but the ball just went by Odor.
It's going to be scored a double, and that might do it for Giovanni Gallardo. 87 pitches under his belt, and Jeff Bannister, and that's enough. Right-hander. We've got Faulkner ready to face these left-handers. Valbuena Tucker and Castro. So Yovani Gallardo done after 4 2/3 tonight. Andrew Faulkner will come in. We'll take a timeout at Minute Maid Park with the Rangers leading 6-2. About Andrew Faulkner. Today, another great pitching performance. Our Kubota Power Stats will tell you that Garrett Cole down the Cubs today worked 7 innings, gave up just 4 hits and a run, 8 strikeouts, his 18th win of the year. That's second in the National League behind Jake Arrieta, 2.6 ERA, fourth in the National League, and 200 strikeouts, 7th in the National League. So Garrett Cole very quietly having a terrific year for the Pirates. Well, Andrew Faulkner has been summoned here with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Luis Valbuena had been the hitter, but he was replaced. Marwin Gonzalez, a switch hitter, will come up back from the right side against Andrew Faulkner. Faulkner appearing in his 9th ball game. That lively fastball, and Gonzalez coming off the bench ready to hit one, and he didn't. Faulkner, that 3.24 ERA. Leach just hitting .219 against the young man.
That's a great spot for Andrew to come into. Right in the middle of a pennant race. A couple of weeks to go in the season. Game on the line. Huge crowd on the road. Take a deep breath and go get him, kid.
He's got Evan Gattis at second base. And Andrew Faulkner all of a sudden is the pitcher of record for the Rangers, since Yovani Gallardo did not finish 5 innings tonight. So if Faulkner can come in and put the fire out here and do it effectively, he's got a chance to pick up a W if the Rangers can wrap this thing up. Line drive to left. Venable back, has a play and makes the catch. That will do it. Well, Faulkner gets the out, albeit a hard one, but the Astros are gone. No runs, a hit, 1 left after 5. Rangers leading 6-2. Inning brought to you by Sonic. Tonight's jackpot is worth $300 and dinner for two at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Gene Speakerman from San Antonio will win $300. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Gene is going to pocket $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. At the top of the Ranger order, Delino DeShields, Shin-Soo Choo, and Adrian Beltre to face the new hurler. That's Vince Velasquez. Velasquez, a 23-year-old Southern Californian. He's from Pomona, down in the Los Angeles area. 18th appearance of the year for the Astros, 4.47 ERA. The league hitting just .235 against him. Check swing, a foul off to the right, 0-1. Delino, 1 out of 2. Hit a double, a soft liner to left center field last time up, and hustled his way into second base. And that was the first hit of the 4 consecutive 2-out hits that produced 3 runs for the Rangers in the 4th inning. Velasquez, pretty lively arm, pops the glove right down and away for strike 2. Velasquez, prior to this year, primarily a starter. Worked his way up the Astros chain. Altuve throws out DeShields, 1 gone. So Delino, a U-turn at first, heads back to the Ranger dugout. Now Shin-Soo Choo will step in. Choo 2 for 3 tonight. He has driven in 3. He's had a run-scoring single and a 2-run bomb. So Choo now 19 home runs, 75 RBI. And not to belabor the point, Tom, but you and I have talked about it before. This is a guy that the Rangers thought they were getting last year, the kind of player and the kind of numbers he could put up. And it's just now been the second half of his second year with the Rangers they finally realized that. And how about our AT&T Uverse Rewind? We'll take you back to the 4th inning. Kazmir, kind of a little slider that all it did was spin and scream "hit me," and Choo obliged. And Choo bangs one right back up the middle. A 3-hit game for Choo. You might as well put that on your memory, because it's going to play over and over and over.
Well, you know, when you look at Choo, I'm so happy for him, because the weight of his contract weighed on him. He wanted to earn his contract. That was important to him. And he finally relaxed, and for the kind of production that he's giving right now, he is earning that contract. And from a Rangers standpoint, when you commit those kind of dollars, you want your player to come through. From the fans' standpoint, you want all your players to come through. So Choo's answering on all levels now. Most importantly to himself, though. He's the one feeling good, and he's the one that worked his way back from the slump, and he's the one that should reap the reward and the benefit and the good feelings. He's earned it.
Adrian Beltre sharing a moment with Larry Vanover, a smile on his face as always. 0-1 the count. Velasquez, pretty quick feet. Take a look at our Ford leaderboard tonight, talking about home runs all time, and Adrian Beltre ensconced in the 51st place all time, just 1 behind Alfonso Soriano, 3 behind Darrell Evans. And Billy Williams and Mike Piazza, and all of a sudden you're getting up into some names that, well, are in Cooperstown along with other places. They have streets named after them and schools and all that good stuff.
Well, the Rangers are going to have some candidates for Player of the Month in September. It's going to be tough to pick the Ranger Player of the Month this month.
You may have to make it a team award.
Definitely for Choo and Adrian. Adrian's driven in 25 runs this month. Choo hitting over 420.
Oh, 2 to Beltre. Adrian, a double and a walk. He has scored twice tonight. The other time, he skied out to deep right field. Velasquez gets the sign. 1-2. Adrian's average now as high as it has been, or higher than it's been the entire year, 281. This is Beltre's first regular season at bat against Vincent Velasquez. And he lines one to right field for a hit. Chu going to round second and head for third. Rangers do that as well as any team in baseball. Go first to third on a single. They have runners at the corner, still just one out. Prince Fielder is coming up.
Well, now Shin-Soo, he trusts his instincts now. Early in the year, he would have gone to second. He would have hesitated. He would have looked for the third base coach. He wouldn't be sure if he could make it, and might have ended up at second. Now, he never even thought about not going to third base on that ball. He gets a high slider, it looked like, maybe a cut fastball. Hits it into right field.
Well, that is going to do it for Vincent Velasquez. A.J. Hinch has gone out to the mound, and he wants the left-hander, Joe Thacker, to come in. So another pitching change underway here at Minute Maid Park in Houston. Rangers on top 6-2. We're back right after this. Thatcher on now to take over. He inherits runners at the corners and one out here in the sixth inning. Rangers looking to add more to their lead. Thatcher appearing in his 41st ball game of the year. 3.60 ERA, 2.89 league average against. Thatcher has gone through just about everything you possibly can with one organization. He's been designated for assignment, released and re-signed by the Astros. He was called back up for the third time this year on the 1st of September when the rosters expanded. And on in a pretty ticklish spot here. Prince Fielder, who against Thatcher is 0 for 3 in his career. Got Chu at third, Beltre at first. And Fielder takes that big sweeping breaking ball through the front door for strike one. Fielder a couple of hits tonight. Good to see Prince back in that multi-hit game category. Fielder's 54th such game this year. Came in tied for 5th in the American League. 0-1 as Thatcher sets. 1 ball and 1 strike. Prince has walked in a couple of previous at-bats against Thatcher. Better than the league average for Fielder, getting that runner home from third with less than 2 outs. He is a run producer, and he prides himself on being able to do that. He has 2 driven in tonight. 88 for the year. One and two. To a left-handed hitter, it has to look like Thatcher's throwing from the ground up.
Sure does. You got to really keep your right shoulder in there and wait on him.
Fielder an RBI double in the first, and RBI single in the fourth. 2-2. Rangers 6 runs on a dozen hits tonight. They continue to swing the bat with authority. Dan Straley, right-hander, loosening in that Astro pen. Thatcher with a 2-2 pitch. 3-2. Now Fielder hitting fourth. No longer is he backed up by Mike Napoli. It's Will Venable in the on-deck circle, who took over for Napoli in the fourth inning. Thatcher ready, a check of Beltre. Payoff pitch coming to Fielder. Up the middle, right behind the bag. Correa turns it into an easy 6-3 double play, and the Ranger threat comes to an end. No runs, 2 hits, and 1 left. After 5.5, it remains the Rangers 6 and the Astros 2. TV Premium. Watch every out-of-market game live on more than 400 supported devices. You get real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking widget, and a whole lot more. Visit MLB.tv today. Andrew Faulkner out to start the bottom of the 6th, and Jonathan Villar has come off the bench to pinch hit for Preston Tucker. So Villar, the switch hitter, up there as a right-handed batter against Faulkner. Andrew faced Marwin Gonzalez last inning, the first hitter he came on to face, also a switch hitter. And he has gotten a 1-ball, 1-strike count to Villar. 264 average, 2 home runs, 9 driven in. Villar, an infielder by trade, and he takes high and away. Faulkner, he was facing Gonzalez, threw a fastball by him. Then Marwin Gonzalez turned on one and hit a line drive at right at Will Venable in left field. The 2-1 pitch. That evens things up. Villar came back from AAA when the roster expanded, also on the 1st of September. He has started 28 games previously with the Astros this year. 18 of them at shortstop, 8 at third, and 2 in left field. Faulkner's 2-2 pitch. Base hit to center field. Villar with a pinch hit single to start off the Astros 6th inning. Ross Ohlendorf, veteran right-hander, loosening in that Ranger bullpen. Villar at first. Jason Castro, who has walked and singled, steps to the plate. Castro a .216 average. He fouls off that first pitch. Castro this year against left-handed pitching a .215 average, so it's about the same for him either side of the plate. Either side of the pitching rubber, I should say. Check swing foul, down on the count. Now very quickly, no balls and 2 strikes. Andrew Faulkner in his 9th appearance with the Rangers. He joined the club just before the cutoff date for postseason eligibility. He joined the club on the 30th, I should say, of August. One ball, 2 strikes. Andrew worked in one of the games in Oakland. It was yesterday. Worked an inning, had a couple of strikeouts, gave up just 1 hit. Left-hander is set. Got him swinging.
Good pitch.
Good breaking ball. Castro gone, 1 away. Altuve coming up, and Jeff Bannister headed out to the mound from the Ranger dugout.
Came with that slider from the first base side. Very tough pitch for a left-hander. Castro stayed in there on it. He didn't pull off it. Just wasn't able to hit it.
No, Jeff Bannister saying a nice job to Andrew Faulkner as he sends him back to the dugout. Ross Ohlendorf coming on. Another pitching change underway at Minute Maid Park. We are back right after this with the Rangers leading 6-2.
Maid Park, game 1 of a 3-game series between these two teams. A lot of members of the front office in attendance on this trip. Among them, John Daniels. Had a chance to catch up with him in Oakland to ask him about the decisions that are being made this time of year.
A lot of it comes down to health, really. I mean, just kind of day by day with Josh and Leonis and the catchers and seeing who's going to make those steps. And then there's just not a lot of calendar left once they are healthy to really get reps in and get ready to go. We're not getting ahead of ourselves. We're not putting the cart before the horse. But hopefully here in the next week or so, we're going to be in a position to think about what the roster could look like. And I'm even hesitant to say that. But that's the reality. And so I think there's a lot of evaluation going on right now from a health standpoint, and then how game ready can we get some of these guys and where do they factor in.
And good news on that Josh Hamilton front. He appears to be getting ever closer to getting back out in the outfield. In talking to JD and those guys, and the trainers as well, they say he's working hard to get back out in the outfield. His legs aren't under him, obviously, after having a procedure done, but they feel confident that he'll be ready to go, maybe not to play an entire game, before the end of the regular season, but definitely can put some time in the outfield, perhaps a Napoli-Hamilton platoon situation out there on left, guys.
All right, Emily, thank you. Jonathan Villar at first base, and Jose Altuve up there facing Ross Ohlendorf. Ohlendorf on for his 17th appearance of the year. 2-0 with an ERA at 2.45, 2.22 opponent's average against the 33-year-old right-hander. Runner on the move, the swing and a miss, the throw to second, and Odor couldn't hang on to the ball. So Villar with a stolen base.
Yeah, 7 out of 9 stealing bases. He gets a pretty good jump. Not a simple ball for Chris to catch and throw on. Odor does a nice job of catching that ball to short hop. He's just trying to keep that ball from going into center field.
My apologies, Ruben. I thought the ball got away from you. It did not. He made a nice catch. Just couldn't get the tag down there.
No.
No balls and 2 strikes. And Jimenez able to block that ball in the dirt. 1-2 now. Ohlendorf just burying that pitch out in front of home plate. And Jimenez sacrificing his body for that one. Altuve tonight is 1 for 3 at a first inning double. Other than that, has struck out and lined to center. Ohlendorf okays the sign. He checks second. Still 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ohlendorf, a very interesting types of pitches that he will throw right-handers. The hesitation that you just saw, that has to mess up the hitter's timing. And of course, when he goes from the windup, he has that big, exaggerated, over-the-top windup that hitters can get mesmerized by that, I would think. A little slide step. He's got something new for a hitter.
Altuve is in one of those modes right now. If it's close, he's swinging. Pitch is 6 inches outside, 6 inches low. Still manages to get the bat on it.
Yeah.
Problem is, if he puts it in play, there's nothing he can do with it except hit a little dribbler.
Ohlendorf again ready. That one's in the dirt. 2-2. Ohlendorf from Austin, Texas. Ross peering in for the signs. Now Altuve waiting. A little topper foul. Ohlendorf up and down this year with the Rangers, and he had basically been out of the big leagues for 2 years. Had some back problems. Last pitch before this year with the Nationals back in 2013. Another 2-2 pitch coming. And instead, a little move towards second. Jonathan Villar came on as a pinch hitter. He led the inning off with a single. Stole second. He is there with one out for Jose Altuve. And that one's in the dirt. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
I'm a little surprised he didn't swing at it. Bet you throw it again, he will.
Ollendorf last worked on Tuesday. Or make that Wednesday in Oakland. Worked an inning. A clean inning of baseball. Getting ready to unload his 9th pitch of the at-bat to Jose Altuve. Elvis has a play at third. They get VR. Altuve will be at first, but that is a huge out, number 2, and I have no idea what was going through Jonathan Villar's name.
Villar just getting a little too giddy out on the bases. He had a big lead at first. He stole second. He's dancing around down second base, pretending like he's going, getting a big jump. And he couldn't wait to run when that ball was hit. And he ran himself right out of a man in scoring position.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's not like you don't practice that every day that you take batting practice. Standing out there at second, practicing going back to the bag when a ball's hit in front of you.
Yeah.
But that's what happens this time of year.
Yeah, caught up in the moment. Exactly right. Trying to make something happen. Just got a little too aggressive.
So 2 away, and Altuve, a base running threat, or base stealing threat. George Springer at the plate is 2 for 3 tonight. Springer has singled each of his last 2 times up there. One an infield single, one a solid base hit to right. Ollendorf will go to work on Altuve at first. Altuve, the league's leading base thief. He has stolen 38 in 51 attempts. Successful about 3/4 of the time. Ollendorf able to drop that breaking ball in for strike 1. .38 steals in 51 attempts. That 75% success rate. Down a little bit from what he has been in the past as far as his success rate is concerned. 1-1 to Springer.
An interesting stat that they had in the Astro notes on Altuve. He could become the 2nd player in Major League history to lead the American League in hits and stolen bases in back-to-back years.
Stuffy Snernweiss.
Who was it?
Stuffy Snernweiss. 44 and 45.
Well, that'd be a pretty good feat to be the 2nd man in history to do that.
His name's a lot easier to pronounce, too. Pitch foul back by Springer. A ball and 2 strikes. Ollendorf toeing the rubber, leaning in for the sign. Chris Jimenez making a couple of suggestions. Right-hander picks one out. And Altuve driven back by a quick throw. Springer with the 2 base hits. Now he has his average up to 266. Again, Jimenez blocking that pitch in the dirt. I think Chris is going to suggest that Ross doesn't need to do that anymore. He's had plenty of practice this inning.
He's going to have to hop in the whirlpool after this game. Done a great job blocking the balls.
Yes, he has. 2-2, and he's coming up with a plan here. High and tight, the count is full. So now with 2 outs, Altuve will get a running start from first. If Springer is able to keep this inning going, Carlos Correa, the shortstop, is in the on-deck circle.
No, Ross has thrown 14 pitches. Most of them have been curveballs.
Altuve walking off the bag. Payoff pitch on the way. Another curveball fouled away. And Altuve will head on back to first, reload, and set up again. Ohlendorf this year struck out 15 in 14 and 2/3 innings coming in. Trying to get the final out of this 6th inning. Another 3-2 and a foul ball.
And that's pretty decent foul ball by Springer. We've seen basically all curveballs and then a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, and was still able to foul it off. That's pretty good.
Springer back in. Ohlendorf has the sign he wants. Got him swinging.
Couldn't hit that one, though.
95 and elevated a little bit. And Ohlendorf puts a capper on the 6th inning. No runs ahead, 1 left. On to the 7th we go. Rangers 6, Astros 2. United started in the first. Prince Fielder, an opposite field gapper, a one-run double gets the Rangers on the board as Beltre scores. Then Shin-Soo Choo in the 4th inning, his 19th home run of the year, a 2-run blast. Rangers on top, and Prince adds another. Dumps a single into center field. Beltre scores again, and the Rangers out to a 6-2 lead that they enjoy as they come to bat here in the top of the 7th inning. Joe Thatcher, the left-hander, stays in the ball game to face Venable and Moreland. I would imagine the first 2 Rangers in this 7th inning, both hitting from the left side. Will Venable kind of shaking his head after swinging through that slow breaking ball from Thatcher. Venable in 30 games with the Rangers this year, hitting .190, 3 RBI, still looking for his first home run. 1 ball and 1 strike. This for Venable, his first at bat of the night. Came on for Mike Napoli. First defensively in the 4th inning. Now up here to start off the 7th inning. High and tight, 2-1, or 1-2, 2-2. One of those twos.
Something to.
Brought all our auctioneers out in the truck. Thatcher back to Venable. Hit pretty well to center, but Rasmus with plenty of room out there. 1 out. No, Venable skies out. Now Mitch Moreland will come up. Told you about Mitch and his liking this year of left-handers, going deep with them. 5 home runs off left-handers for Moreland. Mitch is 0 for 2 in previous matchups against Joe Thatcher. The left-hander's first pitch to Mitch. Moreland, a 2nd inning double. 1 for 3 tonight. Scored a run in that 2nd frame. That average at 285. Ooh, we had something there to work with.
He wasn't trying to ground that one up the middle.
He was going for the scoreboard atop the right field stands. One ball and 1 strike. Waited on that breaking ball nicely. It fouled it off. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Astros behind Thatcher in that overshift on the infield. As the count gets to 2 strikes now, the third baseman Lowry moving back more toward the edge of the outfield grass at the shortstop spot. Outfield, as you can see, played it the other way. And Mitch takes call, strike 3. He got crossed up. Thatcher, a lot of slow stuff, and snuck a fastball by him. 2 gone. And A.J. Hinch quickly out of the dugout. He is going to go to the right-hander with Elvis Andrus coming up. So it'll be Dan Straley coming in out of the Astros bullpen. He will take over on the hill. We'll take a timeout at Minute Maid Park with the Rangers leading 6-2. We are back right after this. The superheroes are here. Nice to see the young Superman out on a Friday night. This is a big series, bringing out all the artillery. Dan Straley has entered the ball game. for the Astros, 26-year-old out of Springfield, Oregon. Went to Western Oregon University and played his last couple of years at Marshall University. Originally with the Oakland A's, traded over to the Cubs by the A's last year, and then acquired this past offseason by the Astros, a deal that sent Dexter Fowler to the Cubs. Luis Valbuena and Straley coming over in that deal. And Dan Straley goes to work with Elvis Andrus up there and throws strike one. Elvis 1 for 3 tonight, a bunt single back in the second inning. Another breaking ball that catches the outside corner. Other than the bunt base hit, Elvis has popped out and struck out. That is out of play to the right. Count remains 0-2.
They were talking about Elvis's added power this year. The 2 balls he's hit 420 feet to left field. Has never done that before. Has he ever hit an opposite field home run?
Not that stands out in my mind.
Me either.
They're going to loop one into center. That's got a chance to drop. Oh, and Correa and Altuve come apart. The ball comes apart from the glove of Altuve, and Altuve's down. Altuve had it in his glove. Correa looked like he clotheslined it. The two collided very briefly, and Altuve on his way down dropped the ball out of his glove, and he is shaken up. A.J. Hinch and training staff out there taking a look at Jose Altuve. Jose really shaken up. Yeah, it looked like Correa reaching around there, got the glove wrapped around under Altuve's arm and slapped him in the face. Second base umpire Vic Carapazza ran out there to make the call, and hopefully Jose Altuve is okay. It didn't look like, other than the jarring effect of getting smacked in the face with a glove, and it didn't look like the contact was too severe.
No, I couldn't tell. Must have been his face.
Yeah. Yeah, it looked like Correa's glove came around him and smacked him upside the head.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, if you've ever been hit in the nose doing anything, you know your eyes immediately cloud up, tear up. And it's somebody can just flick you on the end of the nose, and that'll happen. Well, Altuve being helped at least back to the infield. We'll see if he's able to stay in the ballgame. Looks like he's saying, yeah, I'm okay. We'll see if he continues walking off the field. That's going to be the key. Yeah, he's a little bit woozy, it looks like. So I would guess just the preliminary examination, they'd probably think that you have to go through the concussion protocol with Altuve. Well, Correa, of course, a much larger man, so all of his mass got up pretty high. And Altuve will be checked out immediately. And it looks like the Astros have challenged the ruling on the field as to whether it was a catch or not. Seemed to be pretty clear that the ball came out before Altuve established control, but Larry Vanover, the crew chief, and second base umpire Vic Carapazza will get the headsets on and check in with Replay Command Center back in New York. That didn't take long. Larry Vanover explaining things, and the call's safe. So all they had to do is get the headsets on and say, "What's the deal?" And the folks in New York said,
that's the fastest one of the year. That's like saying, why in the world did you try to challenge that one?
Well, some changes now defensively for the Astros. We'll catch you on that in just a second. It's ruled an error on Carlos Correa, a two-base error on the shortstop.
What?
Yeah, that's what the official scorer has ruled. In any event, Elvis at second base with 2 outs. Here's Rougned Odor.
That's getting a little too cute with a scoring system right there. I mean, a guy can cause an error if he bumps into a guy. Generally, you might see that if a guy's waiting underneath a fly ball and some guy just comes out of nowhere and bangs into him. But when 2 guys are going after it equally and smashed together like that, I don't think that one's going to get changed.
I would agree with him. That's throwing common sense out the window.
Yeah, that's just looking at the scorebook and coming up with an interpretation that's much too cute.
Colby Rasmus, as you saw, moved from center over to left. Jake Marisnick in center. And Odor pops this one up. Correa, the shortstop, centered underneath it, puts it away, and that'll do it. For the Rangers, no runs, no hits, an error, and 1 man left. We'll take the stretch at Minute Maid Park with the Rangers leading 6-2. Post-game fireworks show. Fans attending the game with the division rival Los Angeles Angels will be treated to a post-game fireworks show themed to your favorite spooky music to help the countdown to Halloween get started. Discounted tickets are available at TexasRangers.com when you use the online coupon code FIREWORKS. Ross Ohlendorf back to the hill, starting the bottom of the 7th inning. Carlos Correa starting things off. Jed Lowry, Colby Rasmus to follow, and Jake Diekman, the Ranger left-hander, is loosening in the bullpen. Big breaking ball that settles in. It is 0-2. Correa tonight 0 for 3. Reached on a fielder's choice. Struck out twice. Batting at .276 now. check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. And Correa is gone on strikes. First base umpire Brian Knight rang that right fist up there.
High fastball. He couldn't lay off it. I thought he was going to throw him a curveball in the dirt. Comes with a high fastball. And got rung up on it. He doesn't think he swung, but I think when he looks at it, you'll see he went a little farther than he thought he did.
Yeah, the umpire's probably saying, hey, you're only 21 years old. What do you know? I say you swung. That's it.
Yeah, that's one of those borderline calls. Those are impossible to see exactly if you're an umpire down there. We're watching in slow motion. You can't tell whether he swung or not.
And you know what? I think if you talk to 10 umpires, you'd probably get 10 different definitions of what they think is a check swing or not.
Yeah, it's a hard call.
Fastball inside. 2 balls, no strikes to Lowry. Jed Lowry tonight has walked, grounded out, and flied out. 0 for 2 officially. Currently hitting at .234. Chris Jimenez flashing the signs out. Outside, 3 balls, no strikes. Well, Lowry hitting a number 4 slot. He'll be followed by the now left fielder, Colby Rasmus. In at the knees, 3-1. The Rangers 6 runs on a dozen hits tonight. Astros 2 runs on 9 hits. And at least for the time being, they've committed 3 errors. 1 by the Rangers. Up the middle, but right there is Elvis. Knocks it down and picks it up in time to throw out Jed Lowry. That is out number 2. Colby Rasmus coming up. Before we tell you about him, let's send it back to Dana Larson for a Mazda game break. And another pitching change. Jake Diekman, the hard-throwing left-hander, comes out of the Ranger bullpen. He becomes the 4th pitcher tonight. Excuse me, used by Jeff Bannister. Diekman in his 24th ball game as a Ranger. A 2.21 ERA, and the league hitting just 167 against Jake. Saw Diekman 2 days ago in Oakland, worked an inning, gave up a hit, or gave up a walk and a strikeout in that one inning. Worked back-to-back days against the A's. In Tuesday night's game, the opener, worked the third of an inning and struck out Josh Reddick, the only man he was asked to face. Here he is on to face Colby Rasmus. Rasmus 0 for 3 tonight. He has struck out, grounded out, and flied out. Rasmus steps in, hitting at .231 for the year. He does have 21 home runs. And he has been pretty hot in this month of September. Diekman hits the outside corner with strike one. Jake, the Nebraska native, gets set and misses down and away. 99 miles an hour. He brought his high octane with him tonight.
He's fueled by all the Ranger fans that are in attendance here. Feels like a home game on our side.
1-1 pitch. 2-1. Well, Rasmus has had a little success against Diekman. He's 2 for 4. Pair of singles. Jake ready, the 2-1 pitch. That will even the count. Jake Diekman, of course, coming over from the Phillies along with Cole Hamels. A trade deadline deal, and the addition of Diekman and Dyson in the Ranger bullpen, that may have added more than anybody could have imagined. And gone on strikes as Rasmus Diekman gets the job done. That is a 1-2-3 inning, first one we've had tonight on either side. Bottom of the 7th inning coming up, or make that the top of the 8th inning coming up. Rangers by 4. The Rangers' upcoming schedule for you. Big series down here in Houston. This is the first game tomorrow afternoon and then Sunday afternoon. Then the Rangers fly on back to the Metroplex to begin the final homestand. 3 with Detroit, 4 with the Angels. And then it's October time. American League playoffs begin the following week. Chris Gimenez leading off for the Rangers here in the 8th inning. Gimenez 1 for 3 tonight. A triple and a run scored back in the second. Since then he has grounded out and popped out. And Dan Straley dropping in a breaking ball to make it 0-2. Chris batting .274. Hits this one well to left field. Rasmus is back right in front of the out-of-town scoreboard to make the catch.
It just missed barreling that ball up by a little bit. Still hit it pretty well, but not where it would have gone if he really hit it on a good part of the bat. Like he did that triple that he hit in the second inning. He smoked that. That had some exit speed on it. This one must have hit a little bit off the end of the bat, a little off the handle. Couldn't tell, but strong as Chris is, would have gone farther than that if he hit it well.
The one long out. Here's Delino to Shields. 0-1. Delino a double in 3 official trips. Also been hit by a pitch. .261 average for the Rangers center fielder. Again, getting on and scoring runs, and that's what Delino has been all about. Left center field, Marisnick and Rasmus, and it is dropped by Marisnick. Another collision. This would buy, well, 2 center fielders basically.
Yeah, again, center fielder's ball if he calls for it. They're both very good outfielders. Either one of them could have caught it. It looked like Marisnick was yelling for it, but can't be sure. Yeah, there he is. He's yelling, I've got it. Rasmus got to get out of the way.
Yep.
You see some of the throws that Rasmus makes when he has no chance to throw somebody out. Maybe he just didn't hear him on that play. I don't know.
They scored that a base hit. The official scorer is having all kinds of problems.
If Elvis's ball doesn't get changed, that's one of the worst calls of the year.
Few grounds out to Marwin Gonzalez at first. Down to second goes Delino. Let's go back to Shin-Soo Choo, who is our DXU Energy Power player.
Second at bat in the second inning. Bat breaks in half. He loops a little ball in the left field for an RBI. Comes up later, hits a hanging slider in the 4th inning for a 2-run homer. And then goes back up the middle, left center field with a line drive. So he does tonight what he's been doing for the last several months. Hit the ball to all fields, get on base, get his hits, knock in runs, and hit the ball out of the ballpark. The 3 RBIs tonight gives him 75 for the season. That's the most he's had in 4 years. And boy, you know, I guess we say it so many times, we might be wearing it out, but where he came from on May 1st is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It is. You know, you get about 100 at bats or so, and you are hitting below 100, and then to turn it around in the next 350 at bats is just incredible.
He's had 3 hits tonight, so he's hitting probably about 273, maybe 274. He's knocked in 75 runs. He's got 19 home runs. Got a great chance to hit 20 home runs, knock in 80 runs, hit 280, and get his on-base percentage up to around 380.
And Delino to Shields, meanwhile, showing you a little roadrunner action. Ball in the dirt, no hesitation by DeShields. He's at third with 2 outs. Adrian Beltre tonight is 2 for 3. He has singled, doubled, and walked. He has scored twice. Takes the pitch low. 2 balls, no strikes.
Here goes the roadrunner. If I could run like that, I'd try to run every single chance I've got.
You'd be doing Jonathan VR stuff. Wonder what that feels like to be able to run that fast.
Well, you know, we would know if we could do it for a while because we could feel it. I heard Delino talking. He said, you know, it doesn't really feel to me like I'm running that fast. Yeah, because that's the way you've always run it. Just feels normal to you.
Delino a couple more hits tonight. Been on base 3 times. 3-1 the count to Beltre. Popped it up. Villar angling out, coming on is Springer, and Springer takes charge, makes the catch, and that will do it. No runs, a hit, 1 left for the Rangers. We finished 7.5 at Minute Maid Park. It's the Rangers 6 and the Astros 2.
Aggressive fashion statements being made here at Minute Maid Park on the opener of this 3-game set. Astros trailing the Rangers, which means the Rangers are on top by a score of 6-2. A couple of day games to close out this series. The second game takes place tomorrow, a noon first pitch on Fox National Broadcasting Network, and it is Derek Holland versus Colin McHugh. There you see Derek's 3-3 record with a 4.75 ERA, and you will notice tomorrow Derek will also have a new haircut. The Wild Thing do is no more. Derek is moving on and doesn't want to talk about the Wild Thing haircut anymore. Wants to just keep it about baseball, fellas. He'll be able to do that very thing tomorrow. So thanks to the folks at AT&T Uverse for getting us ready for the game 2.
Does that mean Charlie Sheen won't have anything to do with the Rangers anymore?
You know what? I bet Derek made such a profound impact on Charlie Sheen that he's going to love the Rangers forever.
Good. Just making sure.
Yep. I'm confident.
Okay.
Now that we've gotten that squared around, Sam Dyson going to work here in the bottom of the 8th inning. So the law firm of Diekman and Dyson back at it again. Diekman came in and got the final out of the 7th. Drew Stubbs enters the ballgame, takes over in center field for Delino DeShields. Sam Dyson worked the first game in Oakland. Chopper slowly hit to Elvis, and on the run he throws out Gaddis, 1 away.
Well, that's a fairly predictable result when Sam Dyson comes into the game. Throw those 96-mile-an-hour sinkers and get ground balls.
You kind of wish they were hit just a little bit harder than that.
Make them easier plays.
Now we're going to have another pinch hitter, John Singleton, the young power-hitting first baseman for the Astros. He's going to pinch hit for Marwin Gonzalez. Singleton, who signed that 5-year contract, all kinds of options and guarantees, that kind of thing, before he ever set foot on a major league field.
The smartest contract he ever signed.
No kidding.
Smartest contract anyone ever signed. Oh, that's going a little too far, but it was a very bright move by him.
Yeah. Season average of the big leagues of 200. A home run, 6 driven in. He hadn't cut his swing down at all since we last saw him.
Now he's a little bit prone to the swing and the miss.
He's also a very strong young man. Singleton at AAA this year hit .254. He had 22 home runs, drove in 83. And Dyson missing outside as he took something off. 2 balls and a strike. Singleton also at the big league level for most of the month of July this year. Dyson ready. And the right-hander deals. Shallow left field. Beltre and Andrus angling out. Elvis Andrus making the call and the catch for out number 2. Whether it's April or September, these guys probably go at it if they find each other on Christmas Day. Doesn't matter. Venables looking at both of them like, what are you guys doing?
Well, that's the kind of play that Elvis is a shortstop. He yelled for it. Adrian went through the motions just to make sure if it came to him next time he'll know how to do it, but he let Elvis catch that one.
Jonathan Villar up for his second at bat. He had a pinch hit single in the 6th inning.
You know, Sam, the last couple of times, Buzz, has taken something off. I don't know if he calls that a changeup. It's not a slider, I don't think. It's almost like a 90-mile-an-hour changeup from his 96 or 7-mile-an-hour fastball. There it is again.
Yeah.
Is that what you'd call it? Is it a changeup, do you think? Or?
I'd call it a power changeup, yeah. But I don't see the kind of movement that would lead you to think it's a slider or any kind of a breaking ball.
Yeah, right.
Of course, his fastball sinks so much, you know, hard to tell what's normal and what's not. That pitch just outside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dyson with 23 strikeouts and just 4 walks on his ledger. Set for the 1-2 pitch.
Whatever it is, he's throwing at every pitch.
Yeah.
He's either throwing an off-speed pitch or he doesn't have the same velocity on his fastball tonight.
Right. And that could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Maybe he may just not be pushing it and trying to rely on the movement to get guys out.
He's getting plenty of movement.
Get that 2-seam grip in his glove.
Oh, there's 97, so.
Runs the count full to Villar. If Villar extends this inning, the catcher Jason Castro in the on-deck circle. Dyson set. Payoff pitch is on the way. Charging Andrus, quick throw, and it's wide. Goes into the dugout and comes back out. And Larry Vanover, the home plate umpire, said, yeah, that went into the dugout. So it's going to be an extra base for Villar.
Boy, Elvis had made something like 1 error in 40 games. He's going to get an error on that play, and he's trying to make a great play. And almost did. Just the throw was a little bit wide. Another ball beaten into the ground. He knows he's got to play it quickly. Just pulls the ball a little bit the wrong way.
That's going to be a base hit and an error to allow Villar to move into second base. Second Ranger error of the night. And Jason Castro now will step up. Villar with his second straight base hit, by the way. Castro has singled, walked, and struck out tonight. 1 out of 2. Ranger infield plays Castro around to the right by 4 or 5 steps. Not an extreme overshift. There was even more off that 87 that looked like a straight changeup.
Yeah.
Good look at the Ranger defensive alignment. The infield to the right, the outfield straight away, if not shading slightly out the opposite way. Castro, a .215 hitter. Saw the Astros numbers with runners in scoring position, .243 this year. That is on the outside corner. Castro telling Vanover that he didn't really care for his call. Vanover expressing the indifference to that opinion. Nothing and 2. Got him swinging. Now Dyson, a strikeout after the infield single. 1 man left. We're going to the 9th inning in Houston. Rangers 6, Astros 2. Thank you, Dana. Yeah, Rangers come to bat here in the 9th inning. It'll be 3 left-handers, fielder Venable and Moreland. They will be facing Oliver Perez, the veteran left-hander, and a drive to left center field. Marisnik over into the alley. This one kind of dying out there. Well, 1 pitch to Prince Fielder, 1 out. And now Will Venable coming up. Well, folks, let's take a look at tonight's strongest fan photo selection. T-Mobile making all this possible. And tonight's picture comes to us from Melissa. Melissa, thank you very much. And if you folks would like to tweet your photo, it's hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan. And just like Melissa's, your photo might show up on one of our upcoming broadcasts. Thanks to T-Mobile for all their help this season. Will Venable takes a breaking ball from Perez for strike 1. Venable 0 for 1. Flied out to center field back in the 7th inning. Rangers 6 runs on 13 hits tonight. Astros 2 runs on 10 hits. 0-2. Sean Tollison, Ranger closer, getting ready in the bullpen, and this will not be a save situation for Tolly, but a 4-run lead. Most managers treat that as a same thing as a save situation. Down on strikes, Venable, 2 gone, and Mitch Moreland coming up. Especially this time of year, you get an opportunity to close out a ball game, and you better get it done. Moreland 1 for 4 tonight with a double and a run scored. Mitch, in the last couple weeks, pretty much the everyday first baseman for the Rangers. Left-handers, right-handers. Napoli getting the starts in left field against left-handers, and Mitch in there at first base. Of course, Mitch, along with the overall hitting ability, a very, very good first baseman. Nothing in 2. Normally, say a guy that has a lot of motion in his windup see a lot of elbows and kneecaps. With Perez, you see the entire body. He swivels around. You see everything. He'll turn the back to you. I would swear he does a complete 360.
Remember Gene Garber used to pitch like that. He turned his back. Louis Tiant occasionally would give it the back turn.
Perez ready. Another 0-2 pitch. Call, strike 3. Mitch knew it. Just drops his bat, takes off his shin guard, and he'll go out and play defense. 3 up, 3 down. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. It's Tolly time at Minute Maid Park. Rangers on top by 4. A lot of Ranger fans down here at Minute Maid Park. A lot of folks came down I-45 all the way down to Houston and cheering on their hometown Rangers. And they are cheering on the Ranger closer, Sean Tollison, with a 4-run lead. Trying to close things out in this first game of a 3-game weekend series. Tollison appearing in his 68th ball game of the year. 33 saves and 35 opportunities. This not a save opportunity for him. The league hitting just .228 against Tolly and a .281 earned run average. He will face the top of the order, but it is a little bit different than the normal top of the order for the Astros since Jose Altuve has gone out of the ballgame. Jake Marisnick will lead things off. George Springer, Carlos Correa to follow. So 3 right-handers at the top of the order to face Sean Tollison. This will be Marisnick's first at-bat of the night. He came into the ballgame when Altuve and Correa collided. And Altuve got smacked upside the head by, it looked like Correa's glove. We have not had any word from the Astros clubhouse. And Tollison's first pitch to Marisnick is low and outside for ball one. Sean, last work in the first game of the Oakland series, gave up a run on 2 hits in an inning of work. Got his 33rd save in that outing, and he misses high to make it 2 balls and no strikes. Marisnick, that .239 batting average as he faces Tollison. 3 balls, no strikes. Well, the idea of giving the Astros an opening here in the 9th inning is not really appealing. That's exactly why Tollison's out there. Jeff Anderson doesn't want to let up off the gas. 3-1. John set again, back to the plate. 3-2. Tollison this year, 17 walks in 67 1/3 innings, 71 strikeouts. Payoff pitch. We'll try it again. The last non-save situation that Tollison was in was at home against the Astros. Came in and worked the 9th inning, got the win in that Ranger victory. This one popped up. Moreland has a play, it looks like, onto the track near the stands, and Mitch makes the catch. So Tollison comes back from a 3-0 count to get a foul pop out for out number 1. Now Tollison will face George Springer. Springer this evening 2 out of 4. And Springer 0 for 3 against Tollison in previous matchups. Marisnick, after that foul pop, now 1 for 4 against Tollison. Nothing and 1. Springer had an infield single in the 3rd, single to right in the 4th. Other than that, has grounded out and struck out. Breaking ball, chewing on the outside corner. Nothing and 2. Rangers and Astros, 2 more games, and the Rangers entering play tonight, a 3.5 game advantage over the Astros. And with a win tonight, could make it 4.5. And Springer down on strikes for out number 2.
Good fastball, 94 miles an hour. Boy, Sean makes his living on the outside corner of the right-hand hitters. He pounds that spot one right after the other. Mix in a changeup every now and then, mix in a breaking ball, but basically that's what you're going to see when you hit against him. 92 to 94, they're going to be on the outside corner, and the umpire has a little bit of a liberal zone. It might be 2 or 3 inches outside, but that's what you're going to have to hit.
And the only time we've seen Sean have any kind of problem is when that ball is not called a strike, when it's right on the corner, and or guys taking him the other way get used to it. There's a base hit by Correa to left field, so he keeps the game alive for the Astros. Correa now 1 for 5 with that single.
The first 2 times up, Correa struck out with men in scoring position early in the game in the 1st and the 3rd inning. Giovanni Gallardo made some good pitches in key spots early in the game to get Correa. The time he went up, and he got a fastball that Sean didn't get to the outside corner.
A 1 on 2 out. Jed Lowrie 0 for 3 with a walk tonight. A strike at the knees. Lowrie just 1 for 7 against Tollison with a couple of strikeouts. Correa at first not being held on. Rangers leading 6-2. And Correa will advance to second. Slow breaking ball. Lowry said, yeah, maybe I'll swing. No, maybe I better not. Well, yeah, I'm too late.
He just didn't expect that pitch.
No. Nothing, and 2 the count. And the Ranger fans on the third base side standing. They are applauding their closer, Sean Tolleson. Finally getting ready to close this game out, if at all possible. 0-2 pitch. Line to left. Venable. In a step. Back a step. Makes the catch. And that is a winner. Sean Tolleson and the Rangers extend their lead now to 4.5 games over the Houston Astros. They reduce their magic number to 5 for the American League West title. And our DirecTV standings show you the updated version of the West. The Rangers by 4.5 over Houston. They are 5 ahead in the loss column. They're now 5.5 ahead of Los Angeles. The Angels this evening are defeating Seattle at the middle of the ball game. But the Rangers 4.5 games up now, and what they have assured themselves of is being no worse than 2.5 games up